Hey everybody, welcome back to another match casting by Pirate and myself, Chris Jesty. This is going to be an MRC match that's actually a tournament match, but we'll get into that in a minute. First, let me go ahead and have my co-host introduce himself. Say hi, Pirate.
Good day, everybody.
How you doing, Pirate? It's been a while. It's been a while since we've posted anything or even casted a match in general.
Oh, there's been a lot going on lately with NashCon, lots of Mega Mech going on, including this event. And honestly, I've been having a lot of fun list building and trying out things which apparently didn't work so far, like 11 times in a row. But we've had a lot of fun getting some games in lately. I know I have at least.
Yeah, I've actually not really gotten too many games in. I've been quite busy lately, unfortunately, but I'm looking to change that in the near future and get back on the horse, as they say. Get some videos out and get some games in, more importantly. Speaking of getting games in, coming up in October, actually, starting October 21st and going to October 22nd, there will be BattleTech events at the SoCal Open in San Diego, California, at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. I will be hosting and running MRC Classic BattleTech tournament on Saturday, October 21st, and there will be another tournament held on Sunday, ran by Paradox 23, who's in the MRC Discord as well. And he will be running a WolfNet 350 event on Sunday, and I will be helping him out with that. And he'll be helping me out with the event on Saturday. Little mutual beneficial arrangement we've got going on there. So any Californians, Southern Californians, and/or Arizonans and Nevadans, I hope to see you guys out there. The more, the merrier. There will be prize support, and there will be good times had by all, I'm sure. In fact, it's going to be so much fun. The Pirate is going to be flying out there. Isn't that right?
Oh yeah, if my jump ship doesn't get lost in translation and lose a solar sail, I'll be out there and love to get some explodey bits in with everybody.
Yeah, he's flying out to come play with Southern California BattleTech players. So you guys can't let me down. I won't be playing in the tournament because I'll be running it, only if necessary, if there's a buy situation. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into what we've got going on today. Like I said earlier, this is an MRC tournament match. This is for Vapor's third tournament of the year. Are You Afraid of the Dark Age? Which, if you couldn't tell by the name, is a Dark Age tournament. We're at 10,000 battle value, and any other specificities regarding unit construction?
So, few things is one, multiple thanks to Vapor for running these events. Being a TO is not easy, and this is his third in a year, and it's Mega Mech. So, super props to him for putting all this together.
Yeah, I haven't even ran the tournament yet, and it's already being quite stressful as is.
So this event, there's return of the scoring where each unit you destroy is worth a certain number of points. I think you had to have at least 4 units in this event, and there's also no requirement that you take vehicles or infantry or battle armor or protomechs for those that want to go down that dark rabbit hole.
I don't know who you're talking about there, Pirate.
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. Unnamed sources. But this is all in the Dark Age. There's a cheese penalties come back, not only for jump 7+, not only for pulse boats. A few things like hardened armor is off board for this event. But interestingly, and I thought this was a good move to spice things up, Republic of the Sphere and Mercenaries are actually on the cheese list. They're not banned, but you do get malices for taking those just because their deck is so wide and deep. It kind of outshines some of the other factions, and we do like to see other factions get some time.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to see some differentiation between the factions. I don't want to see everybody taking the mercenary list or the Republic of the Sphere list just because they have so many options. There's like 900 mechs or something like that that the Republic of the Sphere gets during this era, which is just ridiculous compared to the other factions in this current era.
Yeah, I may have taken mercenaries to NashCon just because there were certain mechs I wanted to take and they only existed on the Venn diagram in mercenaries, but it was just convenient, although I kind of wish I took a faction flavor list.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to go flavor, or I definitely went flavor this time around with the proto mix.
So Jesty, I'm going to return it back to you. Why is it called Are You Afraid of the Dark Age?
You know, I think it's because a lot of people think BattleTech ends after the Civil War, or after the Jihad, or right around the Jihad. The Jihad doesn't exist, and a lot of
Well,
people are afraid of the newer tech and the crazier stuff that tends to come out in the later eras.
and
At
that's a
least,
shame because there's no video games that really go into the Dark Age that I know of. Like everything either ends at the clan invasion or right before the Word of Lake Jihad, as far as I know.
yeah, I would love to see a game set in the Ill Clan era where we've got inner sphere tech mixed with clan tech on the regular basis. That would be ideal, if you ask me. But that's neither here nor there. What is here, though, is the match between NitroBurst and ElroyScout.
So I'm excited to see this one because those are both players that have definitely shown a lot of skill, especially recently. And I just love seeing skilled players go juggernaut against each other. It's always fun to see new people as well smash heads because sometimes unexpected new tactics come in. But these are two, getting to be MRC veterans just grinding it out real hard, and I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, Nitro actually won an online tournament. I don't remember which one it was, but I'm pretty sure he took first in one of the recent tournaments. So he's definitely a skilled player. Elroy is definitely a skilled player. His name tends to be floating toward the top. He's getting more and more points as he gets more games in and rising up through the player ranks. So this I'm expecting to be a very high skilled match.
So, shall we get into the mechies here?
Yes, let's. First up, we've got the Battlemaster BLR-1GC. One thing that jumps out at me right away before I even click view on this thing is he's got two pilot names and two pilot skills here. You want to talk about that for a second, Pirate?
Yeah, that's I was gonna make a joke there about, one gets to shoot the other if they try to retreat and they're in the same cockpit, but so that Battle Master has a dual cockpit, and that means he gets a bonus to his initiative. And I'm pretty certain you get the bonus for is it heavies and assaults? Like I want to say light mechs don't get that, like the Chameleon, but since he's in a Battle Master, he gets +2 on his initiative rolls.
Yeah, you're correct. It is heavy and assault, and it's no longer called the dual cockpit. I think at one point in time it was, but they've gotten rid of that nomenclature because dual cockpit and command console used to be two separate things, and now they've rolled them all into command console. So, if I'm not mistaken, one of them is the actual pilot that's shooting and walking around on the mech, and the other is just there for a +1 or +2 initiative bonus. Is that right?
Yes, and my apologies for using grognard terminology. I've been hanging around the vets too long. But one thing that is going to be different is, and I think this is for the NFL variant, although I do like this change. For dual cockpits, the commander is always 4/5. That way you can't overpay the tax for it because you are paying for that dual cockpit, but you also can't just cheese it by dropping the pilot skill down ridiculously low.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good call there from Vapor. That and it makes it so that if you do change the skills and your pilot ends up dying, but you still have your commander, you're stuck with a subpar or slightly better commander, depending on how you skilled your pilot.
Nobody
Uh,
ever downgrades to 6/6 pilots, which actually that is something that Vapor also removed was the ability to have something dumb like a 7/7 Stinger to try to get objectives but not pay the fee for that. So
yeah,
all pilots have to be 4/5 or
yeah,
better.
Correct. So we're looking at average bare minimum pilots here. Average inner sphere pilots, that is. So getting into the actual mech itself, it's a battle master, so it's 85 tons. It's got a 4.6 movement profile, standard fusion engine, so this thing can zombie around for quite a bit. 34 heat sinks, and it generates quite a bit of heat with a PPC and one, two, three, four forward-facing medium lasers and two rear-facing medium lasers and a SRM6. So that's actually not as much heat as I was actually expecting. So this is probably a heat neutral mech.
I think it is, but how often are you going to use those rear lasers? They're funsies when you get them, and you're still paying for them. And it's it got a single engine, but it's intro tech, so we're a couple. I think at this point, almost 800 years in the future. This is like walking up with a literal catapult on a modern battlefield. I'm interested to see how it does.
One thing to note that since its tech level is advanced, mainly probably due to that command console, it does not count for the cheese score for bringing an inner sphere mech. So he does not get the +1 to victory score, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh no, you're correct about that.
All right. So I don't know. How do you feel about the weapons loadout on this? You think I mean, it's mostly an energy boat, but it has that SRM6 with 2 tons of ammo. And it's 15 shots per ton. So straight up, you can dump a ton right out of the gate.
Yeah, my prediction on this, and again, we haven't seen this match, but my prediction on this is that PPC is going to be nice. The medium lasers will be good if he can get in close for brawling, but that SRM ammo with no case is going to kill the mech a lot faster than getting to the engine.
I agree. If anything, maybe you just dump both tons and get rid of the liability and just zombie around with your energy boat at that point.
There you go.
All right, so that's the Battle Master. Let's get into his actual commander for this round because this is cut off the head, which means you need to. The objective is to destroy your enemy's commander and keep your commander alive.
So he's got the Naginata here, and it's a C3 master. So Nitro's going to have the C3 list going on,
He
and
he is very fond of his C3 and TSM, so I won't be surprised if we see some of that showing up soon.
you're correct. And this Naginata is, if you're going to have a C3 master, this Naginata is probably the perfect one for two reasons. One, it is a long range mech. You really don't want your master being your brawler like a Mongoose 2, because why would you ever get where your whole network's going to get destroyed when one mech goes down?
Yeah, exactly.
But also, this thing is built like a brick lavatory because it's got 240 pips of armor and or points of armor, and that's still extremely durable. So not only is it long range and staying away and probably going to have a high number to hit, and it's got weapons to take advantage of other units being up front, but it's also so heavily armored. Why would you shoot at it in the first place?
Yeah, I agree. Unless you have a dedicated backstabber to get rid of this thing, or dedicated backstabbers, I would say it's not the best target. It's not very fast. It's only 3.5. It's got a 285 standard fusion engine, so it can zombie around as well. I see a theme here. And it's got 30 heat sinks, and it's got the inner sphere ERPPC, which we all know is very inefficient for the heat to damage ratio, but he's got enough heat sinks to where it doesn't really matter. He's only going to be firing for the majority of the match, if at least from ideal circumstances. His ERPPC and his two LRM-15s, that ER medium laser should hopefully never come to bear unless something decides to get cheeky and rush him. So he's got more than enough heat sinks to move and shoot all of his weapons every turn.
So if I was to say, "Hey, Nitro, what list are you bringing?" I'd almost assume every time Naginata, Akuma, Nodachi, maybe Shiro or some other, mech. So I'm a little saddened that I don't see the Nodachi in here because he plays it so well.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. His Nodachis are very scary.
But anything else on the Naginata besides the C3 master computer being in the right arm? That's a bit odd.
Yeah, I don't like that. There's one in the left torso and one in the right arm. Not That's an interesting choice to say the least, especially when you have weapons in the CT where you could swap the master for. But, it is what it is. Or ammo for that matter. Swap the ammo for the master, I guess. But it does have Artemis 4 for both of those LRM-15s and case in both left and right torso. So and it's since it's a standard engine, if you lose a torso, you will be in force withdrawal, but you will not be destroyed. You will still be in the fight, which is very important for some of these matches.
Oh, and that's another thing. Force withdrawal is used for scoring, but mechs do not have to retreat. So, in the tournaments that Vapor runs with the NFL format, those mechs become a lot more important because you can still just go all berserker mode and start kicking stuff. You don't have to start moving backwards.
Yeah, just because you no longer count for objectives, at least non-combat objectives, doesn't mean you can't still whoop some butt out on the field. Even if you're a half crushed can of whoop ass, you can still deliver the rest of your payload.
Exactly, and there is enough meat on there. If for some reason a dasher did get behind it and blow it up and lose a torso, that 95-ton kick is nothing to joke about.
No, no, it's not. All right, I think that covers the Naginata. We can move on down to the spider up next. Uh,
Oh,
what what more to say about the Spider 8X series? This is the 8XR 8, 12, 10 movement profile. Yes, that is a 10 jump, which means if he jumps all 10 hexes, he gets a +5 TMM. It's got 23 total heat sinks. Uh, or I'm sorry, it's got 10 double heat sinks, but it can sink a total of 23 heat because it has a partial wing. So that extends the jump range and also sinks 3 heat, which is a very nice piece of tech to have.
I don't think I've ever actually played against this spider because when I saw it, the first thing that came to my head is, yeah, that's that medium pulse laser spider probably. But no, it's a bunch of ER smalls.
And what just shocked me right now looking at it, it's also got a damn sword in the right arm.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's what I just said. I didn't I was not expecting that. I looked down at the partial wing and said, "What the hell is this right above the partial wing? Does that say what I think it says?" Yes, it does. Sword, SWORD, in the right arm. Now,
So
it's a 30-ton mech. If I'm not mistaken, that's a 3 damage swing on that sword.
that's not why it's important because okay, you could kick on a 30-ton mech for 6 damage and try to figure PSR. The PSR is the port you care about, not the kick. The reason you have the sword, I'm going off cuff here, is the sword has -2 to hit and you're jumping, so you're going to have a penalty for jumping. -2 to hit means you have a 1 in 6 chance of causing a pilot damage.
That is correct. You do roll on the punch table with the sword. Actually, no, I take that back. Normally, you don't. When you
Oh,
swing
that's
with the
true.
sword, you hit the full body table, but you can give yourself a +4 penalty, which the sword offsets 2 of that penalty to roll on the punch table with the sword. So, I mean, you may be better off just punching, but the sword itself is quite a bit more accurate, so it will get more damage onto the mech, even if it's just 3 or 4 damage, because I think it's your punch damage +1, if I'm not mistaken.
Um, it's something weird. It's like your weight divided by 7 plus 1 or something.
Yeah, that's right. So it might do slightly more damage than we're giving it credit for, but I mean, it's not an axe, so it's not going to be the full 6 damage that you might expect, or a vibro blade at this point.
So this is where we say comment below or join us in the Discord and tell us why would a jumping mech need a sword instead of, literally just kicking every time.
Yeah, I think I would still go for the kick, personally, but you never know. The opportunity might arise where you've popped him in the head once or twice, and you can go for the -4 and swing on that punch table at a +2 total.
Yep.
But
So three piloting plus three for jumping, six against that Naginata who probably stood still. All right, -2 for the sword. You're on fours. +4 for punching. You're back up to eights. Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, and it on top of that, it does have 5 ER small lasers, so there is a little more punch to this mech. It's just going to be in the shotgun laser variety. That I mean, how much does an ER small do? 2, 3 damage, I think.
It's low. It's like two or three. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're basically tickling whatever. It's all those ER lasers end up being one streak six, realistically.
And last thing I'll say on that spider is I'm all of a sudden getting into a conspiracy theory about wait, there's also a chimera and an assassin with the sword. There's something there, but we'll check that out later.
Yeah, yeah. No, this needs more investigation. There might be something to this sword that we're not seeing right away. Okay, well, that pretty much wraps up the spider. That's his backstabber. Not much else to say about that. Objective grabber slash backstabber. And the objective this time around is going to be backstabbing the enemy commander. Next up, we have the Phoenix Hawk PXH-8CS. Experimental inner sphere. It's 711.6 with a 315 XXL engine. So that's an extra light engine and an XL gyro. And he's got 14 double heat sinks for a total heat sinking capacity of 28. Now, Pirate, an XXL engine, that makes you generate heat, doesn't it?
I think it makes you generate like 5 or 10 extra heat, but that's not even the worst part.
What is the worst part? I haven't seen too many mechs with an XXL engine, and I know that there's a bunch of downsides with heat being one of them and extra engine slots scattered throughout the mech being the other. So I tend to shy away from XXL mech or engine mechs.
So I'll give a few downsides. One is that Naginata costs 16 million C bills. We don't do C bills at MRC, so that's not too important, but 16 million C bills for that very advanced, heavily armored assault mech with a bunch of electronics package. That Phoenix Hawk costs 35 million C bills because that engine is so dang expensive to keep up and maintain and purchase.
That's right. Yeah, XXL engines are like one of the most expensive things you could ever buy for a mech.
Yeah, I think short of a mobile HPG generator, there's nothing else. Like the top 10, 9 out of the top 10 mechs are XXL engines. But the it does generate extra heat. Maybe it's, maybe it's 2 for walking, 4 for running. I think that's what it is.
Gotcha.
So maybe he's going to jump so he doesn't run as much. But that XXL engine, your standard fusion engine, it's 6 engine crits in the center torso. Your
Right.
clan XL engine and your light XL or your light engines, those are 2 in the side torsos, right?
Yeah.
So your XL engine, the XL engine standard is where a side torso destroyed will kill a mech because there's 3 engines in there and 3 engine hits will shut down the engine. So the 3 engines in the side torso is a liability, and it's why a lot of inner sphere mechs go down when clanners can keep swinging.
Yeah. A regular Intersphere XL engine is a liability on certain mechs, especially some of the tankier boys. With that being said, though, this has only got 136 out of 153 total armor, so it's not the lightest armored mech for its tonnage, but it's also not going to stand up to sustain fire, or I wouldn't feel comfortable just jumping this out there and saying, "Yeah, go ahead, shoot at it. It'll be fine." Not really. You lose a torso and you're not fine.
No, you lose a torso, you're already dead, but you have 4 engine crits in your side torso. So even if you don't lose a torso, you get exposed on a torso or a through armor crit, you could easily lose that mech just because there are so many engine crits you could land in there.
Oh, on top of that, it turns the mech into a hand grenade because 4 engine hits in one turn, and that's a chance for a stack pull if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe that's his secret plan all along.
No, yeah, just jump it into the middle of the enemy formation and hope they take out a torso. Well, with that being said, the XXL engine I do not like, just because of all the negatives that it comes with. It does have an XL gyro, and its weapon loadout I'm actually okay with. I like this. It's got 2 snub nose PPCs and the heat sinks to fire it, and jump for 6 every turn. So, all being everything being said and done, assuming you don't generate extra heat for the XXL engine for jumping, it's a heat neutral mech because I'm hoping you're jumping every turn or running to get your TMM up as high as possible because you don't really have the armor to tank with this thing. And it's also slaved to the Naginata. So this is his sole spotter.
Yeah, I do like that you have a jumping spotter. That is always important. And if you're going to have a spotter, it may as well run. Maybe it's kind of expensive for its BV personally, but maybe this was like a way to have something a little more survivable than, say, a Locust.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of a Wraith. Although I think a Wraith with a C3 might be, if there's one that exists with C3, it would be ideal for spotting. But it's the next best thing because I don't think there is a C3 Wraith.
Yeah, but this has two snub nose PPCs. So even though I'm currently running two thugs with snub nose PPCs, one in each arm, in this tournament, I I don't like snub nose PPCs.
I actually do like them. It's got 9 short range, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not remembering incorrectly. So
No, you're probably right. It's just, eh,
for the thug, it may not be ideal, but for a Phoenix Hawk that's running 711 and jumping for 6 that can get in 9 hexes in a hurry, I think it's fine.
fair enough. But tell me about this big boy coming up next.
Oh, the Akuma. He has used this mech before, and I think also Tweezer may have used this mech, if I'm not mistaken. This is a 3.5 movement profile, 270 standard fusion engine. Here we go again. With 24 total heat sinking capacity with a compact gyro, so less likely that you'll get your gyro shot out or take a gyro hit, which is always nice. It's not, it's C3, but I don't think it's networked. Maybe it is networked. Hang on. No, it's not networked, which is quite surprising.
Maybe the mech is just so good it doesn't need to be networked.
Apparently not. Although it does have, speaking of the armament, we've got a snub nose PPC, 2 medium lasers, an MRM 40, and an LB 10X. Wow. It's also just got a coolant pod, as of note, an Apollo MRM fire control system with an Angel ECM, and the C3 system is technically boosted, even though he's not using it, and it's got case in the left and right torso. So this one's got all the bells and whistles. It's
This one is made up of you went to the grocery store hungry. Like there's no other way to say it.
Yeah, you got the snub nose PPC for 9 hex short range, not bad. You got the LB10X to kind of give yourself a little bit of distance and fly swatting capability, which isn't bad either. The MRM40 with Apollo, so you get rid of that heinous +1 to hit. Uh, but does Apollo also cancel out the cluster penalty, or does it not do that?
So Apollo removes the penalty for +1 for firing, but it also reduces the cluster table by 1. I'm okay with that because reducing the cluster table by 1 isn't the end of the world. I'd rather hit than not hit. Somebody made that comment. And MRMs are cheaper battle value wise than equivalent LRMs. So this MRM 40 is a lot cheap. Well, it's about 30% cheaper than in two LRM 20s. But
Oh,
it's still MRMs though. It's ooh.
yeah, I just feel dirty when it comes to MRMs. It's an MRM 40, which is great, but it's still an MRM. -1 to the cluster, like you said. I'll take it. I'll take +1 to hit for -1 cluster, or well, a net +0 to hit. because MRMs usually have an innate +1 penalty. But I don't know how I feel about the mech as a whole. It's a 90 ton mech with 3.5, so it's got to wade into combat slowly. It's not getting anywhere in a hurry, and a decent amount of its weapons are shorter range, 9 hexes.
No, but if you can get it in there, you have a 90-ton, beast ready to wreak havoc. And as much as I would not take this on paper, I've seen this player use it, and I've seen him use it really well.
Yeah, you're right. When you on paper, it's not something I would probably take. And oh, I just realized it's max armor, 279 out of 270. Jesus. Okay, yeah. So this is your juggernaut. This is your yeah. Go ahead, shoot at it. What do I care? What are you going to do about it? It's coming for that objective,
Yeah,
and you're not going to stop it. That's its job. And yeah, okay, I can see this working.
this is your hill, angry noises. This is my hill, and you're not going to take it back because I'm going to outlast you all game with this armor.
Yeah, and it does have case in both torsos, so all of its ammo is protected. It's regular case, so you will lose that torso, but it's a standard engine, so it doesn't really care if it loses that torso.
That's one of the weirdest things, and I think that's more of a campaign mechanic to put case in a mech with XL engines. I get it from a perspective of, well, at least there's salvage afterwards, but the way we play with the pickup game and tournament format where, oh no, my mech died, or I killed that mech entirely, the XL engines in case still doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I agree. Per the lore, mechs are fully recoverable if the left or right torso is taken out with an XL engine. Uh, but I see it like competitively, it doesn't make a difference. The mech's dead for the match, regardless. But yeah, before we move on, I did mention it does have Angel ECM, so that'll help protect his C3 network that he's got. It's not a very big C3 network, but it's there. So, you know,
Could you
there is that.
imagine how frustrating it must be to go, aha, I've got a C3 network and I paid all the taxes for this C3 mechs. And someone goes, aha, my awesome 9Q just happened to have ECM. I didn't even care if it did or not. It's just a bonus. And then it totally shuts down your network.
Yeah, that would suck. So the Angel ECM, I think, is necessary. Although I don't know if the Akuma would be the mech I would want it on. But at least you know it's gonna persist throughout the majority of the match.
I like it on the Akuma because it's up front, so you're going to have a wider like triangle of blocking. And if somebody's going to play the ECCM game, the Angel ECM is going to be better, so you can just totally nullify them.
Yeah,
But having it on your brawlers actually is kind of nice because, if he was attacking a C3 network, for example, he could just get up the field and he's already there. But if he's defending, well, then, he can be up front brawling with screening or something and hopefully prevent somebody else's ECCM getting behind it.
yeah, very true. And Angel ECM always trumps Guardian ECM. So,
Correct.
all right, we'll go ahead and get into the last unit on Nitro's list, and it's Mechanized Track Platoon LRM. So, yeah, I don't know what really to say about these guys. They're 3-3 movement profile. There's 20 soldiers, and apparently they have an LRM launcher with, I think, maybe 2 shots, if I'm not mistaken.
So that is called I want an initiative sync, but I'm also looking at it in terms of the tournament where each individual unit destroyed is worth the same amount of points for the scoring. That's a massive liability, personally.
Oh, yeah. I don't like conventional infantry, and for that purpose, because they are a huge liability. It's only 99 battle value at 1.5, which is the skill rating he took it at. But that's a full 20 points to your opponent if they die. Or maybe it's more. I forgot what the points changed to, but that's a lot of points to your opponent. It counts the same amount of points as your battle master does. So Like you
Well, hold,
said,
well, hold on.
liability.
Why is this at 1.5? I thought it had to be within 2 steps.
Now, that's for most things. It has to be within one, not two. So you can only do 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, or 5, 4. But or actually, you can't even do 5, 4. But 1, 5 is because it does not have an anti-mech skill. So that's not going to affect its battle value. So lowering it or increasing it to save points or generate more points is moot because it only has a gunnery skill.
There you go.
But yeah, it's an initiative sync that can shoot some LRMs out. I'm not even sure how many LRMs it can shoot. It says two, so it's either uh, like an LRM 5 with 2 shots or an LRM 2 with 1 shot. I'm not entirely sure. We'll find out in the game. I'm hoping.
It's a it's an yeah. I was going to say, oh yeah, it's.
Yeah, we'll put a
We'll
pin in
find that
that.
out. But he is a one gunnery though, so maybe this is your init sync in the early game, and then when it's relatively safe, you bring him out and he just goes crit seeking. I could see that.
Yeah, and it's LRM, so you can hide them in the back for the majority of the game, and then just bring them out when the time is right. All right, well, that pretty much sums up Nitro's list. We can go ahead and get into Elroy's list before we do our recap of all of their lists.
So Man of War is a mech that I love to see because the Prime variant is so cheap for clan mechs. But what's going on with this one?
Yeah, so the Gargoyle is one of my favorite chassis, period. This Gargoyle J is disgusting. This is a modern, newer mech. It came out in 3145, apparently, and it's got a movement profile of 5'8", which is standard for a gargoyle, 7, which is not standard for a gargoyle. That's right. This is a 80-ton mech that can jump 4'7". He's paying for it though at 2,800 battle value at 3/4, so it's not cheap. But man, can this hunk of metal move?
So one of the things I like about that gargoyle too is it jumps 7. So usually if you're going to have a jumping assault mech, it's going to be one of those that 3 or 5. But this jump 7 means you can get that full, was it +4 TMM?
Yeah, that's correct. 7 is the threshold for the +4 to TMM, and this is on an 80-tonner, like we said. That is disgusting.
Well, especially look at its weapon loadout. It's basically 4 improved heavy medium lasers. Those are what, 10 damage a pop?
Yep. And they don't have the innate +1 to targeting either.
And I'm not even counting how many smalls that is. Just call it a bunch of crit seeking.
7 ER smalls. Because I'm lazy too, but man, I wanted to know.
So the only thing I don't like about this one is, well, a few things I don't like. It's good speed. It's 80-tonner. It can kick like a beast. So that 7 jump will help you get in position really well. Um, First off is all the weapons are in the arms, and arms tend to get shot off or destroyed when torsos go. So if he loses an arm, he's already in trouble.
That is true, but considering he's only got 32 heat sinks and he should be jumping for 7, and because he's only got a 5'8", he's got to have improved jump jets, if I'm not mistaken, to get up to that 7, because I don't see a partial wing or anything on this.
No, you're right. He probably does have improved jump jets, which those are 1 heat for every up to 2 hexes or something, right?
Yeah, it's basically half a heat per jump. So I don't know if he's generating 3 or 4 when he jumps, but still, he's got 32 total heat sinks. He can fire all 4 of those improved heavy mediums and jump for his full 7. And if it's 4, he stays heat neutral. If it's 3, then he's 1 under, and then he can throw in an ER smaller too for good measure. So I'm not too worried about him losing an arm. If it's the left arm, oh well, you lose your crit seeking capability. You still have your heavy hitters and those improved heavy mediums. But if you lose your right arm or go internal in your right arm, those improved heavies will explode if they're crit. So that's 2 automatic pilot hits if they blow up.
Each.
Each. That is correct. Yes.
So I was gonna ask you if you didn't point that out, but if there's a flaw in this mech, you've got 4 ammo explosions just waiting to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah, in your arms. It is a clan mech, so the case will help with that. You won't lose your torso because it is a 400 XL engine, which may be why they put those improved heavy mediums in the arm. But that there's no excuse for all those ER smalls not being in. Well, okay. I think we have to look at this from. It's not. Don't consider it an assault mech. Consider it a giant dasher. You're likely going to be delivering battle armor. As we look at his list, he does have battle armor on his list, and I think the Man of War is his fastest mech, or at least his fastest Omni mech. So it's more than likely gonna be his battle armor delivery system. So he can chump dump those elementals and shoot every turn before he drops them off.
Or use them as a blade of armor.
That too.
I mean, you shouldn't. That's a terrible waste of both a Nit-seeking clan warriors, battle value. But sometimes, dang it, I really need to protect that particular unit. But this one should be fine.
Yeah, overall, this thing is a beast. Remember, it's kicking for what, 16 damage every turn
Mhm.
once you get into range, and you will get into range with your 7 jump. I mean, the only thing that moves faster than this on Nitro's list is his spider that happens to be one of the fastest mechs in the game, jumping for 10.
So what about that battle armor it's carrying?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the battle armor. That's enough of that disgusting piece of machinery that I'm going to run in the near future. Uh, the elemental battle armor is running the ER laser. I've never seen anybody use this variant before. It's got the standard profile of 113, so you should be jumping with these battle armor every turn, regardless, because they don't take a penalty for shooting and jumping.
It's also got the standard elemental, SRM2. Um, I've got a question for you. At what number do you fire your elemental SRMs at? What target number?
Uh, Depending on the match, if there's a lot of open space and I don't think I'll have better shots, I'll take 7s on those SRM2s. I would prefer 5s or 6s, but 7s is a 50-50 and you've got 2 of them. So if one hits, then, all right, good going.
Uh,
But that
I'm right
also
there with you.
that also depends. Like I said, is very situational. Like if it's 7s on us that stupid spider or something, then yeah, go for it. But 7s on the Naginata or the Battle Master or the Akuma might not be worth it. You might want to wait till you get to the rear arc and you get down to 5s or something.
So that's SRM2, 5 battle armor. So even if I did hit, then you roll on the cluster table or something to see how many troopers hit, and then you roll to see how many missiles hit. That number can add up real fast on a couple spicy rolls.
Very true. So it's basically 5 different SRM2s that you're firing when you fire it with the elementals. You roll the cluster twice, once to see how many of the elementals connect with their SRMs, and then again to see how many of their missiles each hit.
Yeah, but I do find it interesting because me personally, if I don't have 6s or 5s, like you said, I'm probably not firing. Some people I've seen just go, well, I got 10s and these guys are going to die anyway, so I'm just going to fire what I got.
Yeah, and its primary weapon, it's got the generic auto rifle that it always has, but it's also got an ER micro laser, which I don't think reaches all that far out, even though it's got ER in the name. But it does, I think, count as an anti-infantry weapon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so that ER micro laser, it's 2 damage and it's 1, 2, 4 is the range brackets. Thank you, Sarna.
Gotcha. So it's a little bit better range-wise than the machine gun, but uh, other than that, there's not much spectacular about it. It's not like a David Goss rifle or something, or a flamer that adds heat. But it still can do leg attacks. It's an elemental after all, and it will tear apart that infantry if it can close the distance on them. Okay, I think that's about enough for the elementals. Those are pretty common, at least for clan players like myself.
Now that Blackhawk T though, we're starting to get into variants with the Dark Age onwards that I'm not familiar with because the alphabet ends at the letter S and then sometimes skips to U. But the T,
Well, this one is Blackhawk T, so we'll see what flavor it ends up being. It's a 585 movement profile, 250 Clan XL engine, because this is a Clan mech, 14 double heat sinks for 28 total, standard gyro, 160 out of 169 possible armor. So this is quite a tanky boy, and holy, look at the weapon list. Okay, hang on, timeout. We're gonna have to maybe actually do some math here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 medium chemical lasers. Okay, I know which variant this is. I theory crafted using this. So that's 12 medium chemical lasers. They each generate only 2 heat. So you're only generating a total of 24 if you fire everything. So if you run and or walk every turn with this and fire every single weapon, you will be heat neutral. Or if you jump and fire everything, you're only going to generate 1 heat, which is a little ridiculous. The only caveat there is that you've only got 4 tons of medium chemical laser ammo, and each ton only has 30 shots. So 12 divided by 120, that's 10 turns of shooting every single laser. So yes, that's a lot of medium chemical lasers, but you've only got 10 turns of them, which hopefully will be all you need to destroy anything in front of you. That's very efficient, if I'm not mistaken, for 2,000 battle value at 3-4. Uh, what's the range on those medium chemical lasers? Is it the standard 369?
I think it is.
Hang on, I'm gonna have to converse with Sarna real quick.
So Sarna tells me that it's 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. So I think so.
Yep. So it's standard inner sphere medium laser range, generates only 2 heat. I'm pretty sure it does the same 5 damage, if
Correct.
maybe not a little more. Okay, so it is the same 5. So this is, you've got better medium lasers, which heat generating purpose wise anyway, for 10 turns, with the caveat that you can ammo explode with your 4 tons of ammo.
So
Which,
if you fire your medium lasers often enough, you're not going to have any ammo to explode. And at 15 turns, and you got 10 turns of ammo, and you know you got 1 or 2 getting into range, I think you're pretty safe.
yeah, and one thing to note, all of the ammo is in the arms with all of the weapons. So if the ammo goes and you lose all those weapons, or if you, even worst case scenario, you lose both of your arms, your mech is still in prime kicking condition. You won't be able to shoot anything, but you'll still have all of your engine crit slots intact, but you will be in force withdrawal for not having any weapons.
And this looks like a typical clanner mech, of um, what's it? Keeping all the weapons in the arms, the Omni-Mech, I should have said, so that your battle armor, if you had more, could ride on the torsos, your weapons aren't obstructed, and you can just go like a mad person into the fray.
Yeah, no, I like this. Personally, this is very efficient. Um, yeah, you've only got 10 turns of ammo, but like I said earlier, 10 turns should be all you need. If the mech survives more than 10 turns and you've used every single piece of ammo, that is BV well spent, my friend. Save 1 shot, so use all 10 shots for 10 rounds, and then on your 10th round, you only use 9. So you keep your 1 shot, so you're not in force withdrawal. That is the cheesy weenie way to get around that rule, but it is a viable tactic. So as long as you keep 1 round of ammunition left, you are not in force withdrawal for not having any weapons. So you
I,
can still run around kicking.
I'm really happy to see chemical lasers on a mech though, because they're so maligned. Everybody kind of dunks on them, about herp derp. You've got lasers that can run out of ammo and explode, but I'm really happy to see somebody taking these.
Yeah, no, I like it. There's a galleon or something like that. I think that's got a bunch of medium chemical lasers on it too, and it's quite good. I've been wanting to run it. I just haven't found a list to throw it on yet. But looking at this Blackhawk Nova T, I'm definitely adding it to my short list of mechs to run in the near future. All right, moving on. Second to last mech that Elroy does have is this Nighthawk NTK-2Q.
So I like this Nighthawk for a few reasons. One is it gives me vibes back to Operation Klondike because it's an old Star League mech, and a lot of people were able to, try out or test this mech because it's just available to everybody back in the early Succession Wars, back in the Homeworld Clan General list. But it's a relatively speedy boy, 6'9" for, intro tech. XL engine, but I mean, it's a light mech. Is it really going to survive if you crunch into it? 112 of 119 armor, so it's as armored as it's going to be. ER large, large laser, and medium pulse laser. So no ammo to explode at least, but it's gonna be a little hot even with those 24 heat sinks, if my math is right. It's 24 exactly, and then you start walking or running, you should be running. But at least that ER large laser, and the large laser means you can put some hurt on it from relative safety. The medium pulse is nice if someone gets in close, but realistically, this is just going to be a good, not really objective runner. Doesn't have the armor for that or the speed. This is a good harasser, I think.
Yeah, I agree completely. The ER large and the large, more than likely, is what you're going to be firing every turn, and the medium pulse will only come into play if something like that spider gets within range, and you'd rather have the accuracy over the damage. Uh, but yeah, I'm not too upset about it being a little heat inefficient. You're more than likely not going to be firing that medium pulse laser the majority of the turns if you're playing this mech properly in its little skirmisher role. That being said, it's real cheap at 997 battle value. I was a little concerned that this might be, not very efficient for how much he spent on it, but for 1,000 battle value, an ER large and a large laser on a 6'9" movement profile is not bad. So
Yeah, I think it's showing its age though, because again, that's way back to see, it was extinct, and I can't read how this thing works, but it was extinct a long time ago. So I think that this is a case of 997 is great, but a 2-3 spider being only 1267, that mech is going to struggle with all the toys that later mechs get.
that is true. The medium pulse laser is nice, but it's no jump 10. And 6'9" movement profile is nice, but it's no 7'11", or 8'12", it's a little iffy. It's not the worst, but it's not optimized in light mech, etiquette, or light mech standard operating procedures, where you either want to go really really fast or you want to never be seen and just lob stuff from very far away.
I'm a little nostalgic just for seeing it on the list. I'm glad somebody took some old stuff, but yeah.
And unfortunately, because it has that pulse laser and the ER large, it does not count because its tech level is standard, not introductory. So he's not getting the +1 for this.
And then we got one last mech on Elroy's list.
Yes, but unfortunately, it's not in my version of Megamech because I've been a little behind on keeping it up to date with all of Nitro's updates, adding in new mechs. So I do not have this mech in my current version of Megamech, and it is the Regent Prime.
So the Regent Prime, there's memes about Space Pope. So check out those memes. They are meme worthy, but the Regent Prime, you could get away with saying it's a souped up hunchback that decided to just go beast mode, right?
Yeah, looking at the art, you could say that. I mean, it does have the shoulder mounted cannon thing that the Hunchback is known for. It looks very similar. It looks like a Charger and a Hunchback had a baby, and it got. I mean, it got the best of both genes, if you ask me.
But weapon loadout here is an LBX-20 autocannon, so you can fire clusters or solid munitions. That's where my Hunchback reference comes in. The medium lasers have been upgraded to 3 ER large lasers. You've got a Streak 4 in there somewhere with 2 medium pulse lasers just because screw anything that gets close. A micro pulse laser to make sure that pigeons and other small objects get fried, and 18 heat sinks, which seems incredible. Or sorry, 9 double heat sinks for 18 capacity, which seems really, really, really low. So you're going to be weapon cycling this thing.
Oh no, it's 19 double heat sinks total.
Oh, okay. Sarna, you've got it listed as 9 double heat sinks. So 19 double heat sinks total because of the engine.
It's got an additional 9 on top of the 10 in the engine.
So in that case, it still doesn't seem like enough with the number of weapons you have, but
No,
a little better.
it can generate a total of 54 and you're sinking 38. So you're definitely not going to be firing everything every turn, especially because you're kind of a bracket fighter. Those 3 ER larges are 36 by themselves and you've got 38 heat sinks. So you run or walk, fire your 3 ER larges while you close the distance. And then as you get closer, you start dropping ER larges for your LBX-20 or your medium pulse lasers or your Streaks 4. As you get closer, you start dropping those ER larges for more efficient, shorter range weapons. One thing to note, this is a clan mech. So all of those weapons are clan ranged. So that's going to reach out and touch something. 25 max range on those ER large lasers. This is basically an energy sniper and a brawler all rolled into one.
So now it's got me thinking, this looks pretty cool, though. I mean, the art looks cool. The weapon loadout is interesting. An intersphere mech that can shoot way more than it needs. It sounds very clan-like. Almost thinking this. I've seen this in plastic somewhere. Is this in the new Alpha Strike box?
I want to say it's either in the Eridani Light Horse or one of the other ones. I don't remember off the top of my head. No, it's not the Eridani Light Horse. I'm looking at the Eridani Light Horse right now. It might be in the new Gray Death box. Now that I think
Okay.
about it, yeah, it is the new Gray Death box. I'm 90% sure because there's a gargoyle in there, and I want it, even though I've already got a couple gargoyles.
Fair enough. So I may be. I like metal, but I maybe get plastic on this one because that does look cool, and I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, it's a bitchin' looking mech. Also, not to be discounted and forgotten, it does have case 2 for that LBX ammo and the SRM ammo, which are both in the left torso. So you're doubling up there, which is nice. At least they didn't put 2 different locations for ammo. So that's an efficient case right there. Uh, Overall, how do you feel about the mech?
I've never used it. I've never played against it, and I've never seen it. I've never even really looked at its weapon loadout until now. I think it's going to be one of those where you're going to ride the heat curve very liberally, and it's a nice backup for the rest of his lance in terms of just raw punching power and armor. Um, I don't know. It's a wild card, but it's the new kid on the block, so I'm kind of rooting for it, if for no other reason than that.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I like it. The LB20X paired with 2 medium pulses and then the 3 ER larges to fire as you close the distance. I like it. It's a pocket sniper. It's a little bit of a generalist mech, so it's not hyper efficient in one roll, but you don't really necessarily want it to be hyper efficient in one role, especially considering this is an objective based tournament. You want a generalist mech because you don't know what the objectives are going to be. I think this is great fire support for the Man of War that's going to be charging in there with that Black Hawk. The Night Sky is going to be running around in the back taking pot shots, and then this Regent can follow up that Night Sky with the pot shots and then close the distance and back up that Man of War and start chopping it up in short range.
I'm so excited to see Elroy play that mech that we're not sponsored by anybody, but I'm already on Fortress website and they have the region in metal, so I might be taking that home with me.
I'm gonna go the plastic route because I want the gargoyle along with the Regent because it's I think a gargoyle C variant,
Yep.
which is not. I haven't run the C variant, but it's a new variant, so I want it.
There's a K2 in that box as well for the catapult.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, let's not get too distracted
Yeah.
here. Yeah. How do you feel about Nitro's list? He's got the Battle Master, the Naginata, C3 to the Phoenix Hawk, the Jumpy Boy Spider, the Juggernaut Akuma, and the Heat or Initiative Sync, sorry, not Heat Sync, Mechanized Track Platoon LRM versus Elroy's. Oh, I'm sorry. We can talk about his list individually, I guess.
No, go ahead, because I was going to say exactly what Nitro is going to do to Elroy and vice versa.
Oh, okay. Versus Elroy's kind of split frontline. He's got two frontline mechs in his Manowar Gargoyle J and his Blackhawk / Nova T that both want to get up close within 9 hexes, probably closer to 6 hexes, and the Elemental Battle Armor with ER Laser, which is actually a micro laser, and then the Nighthawk and the Regent Prime to give fire support. So he's got two mechs that kind of are okay hanging back and two mechs that want to get up close and personal. So how do you think this will shake out?
Between these lists, I would probably run Elroy's list, and here's why. Even though C3 is not hard, it's just something to fool with. That Naginata is going to be a beast with that Phoenix Hawk going up front, and Nitro has the armor. Let's just call it. You've got that Regent and Man of War, which is nice, but he's got the Battle Master and its single fusion engine. He's got the Naginata. He's got the Akuma. Those are all solid, so he's going to win the tonnage war. On top of that, that Blackhawk T, I'm really rooting for it. Man, Blackhawks seem to explode pretty often with their weak armor. So that Naginata and Akuma are just going to shred it to pieces, I think.
Okay, so you think that it's going to be a war of attrition because it is cut off the head. So you do have to kind of dive for your opponent's commander. Uh, and the Naginata, which is his biggest mech and probably most armored mech, is his commander. And on the other side, you've got Elroy with his Gargoyle as his commander. Not the mech I probably would have chosen, but he may not have had a choice.
Well, it's more of that Gargoyle is jumpy, so his Gargoyle probably will survive the match, if for no other reason than he's just going to be hard to shoot. Unlike that Naginata, who's probably going to struggle to get much of a target number.
That is true. That is true. But in order to get the most effectiveness out of that Gargoyle, which is almost 3,000 battle value of your list, you need to get him up close. If you don't have him up close, getting into rear arcs of bigger mechs, he's a paperweight and a very expensive one at that. I mean, those improved heavy mediums only go out to 9 hexes.
So I'm going to say Nitro's going to rush stuff up there. He's going to have the Naginata lean back. It's going to be a bloodbath somewhere in the middle of the map. But at the same time, that Blackhawk T is going to make a desperate attempt to try to go shoot that Naginata and get wiped out. But then the Gargoyle is going to jump behind him and just blow with those lasers into the rear of it and win the match.
All right. Okay. I think that's enough speculation. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm real excited to see how this shakes out. Okay, we will be fast forwarding a bit here. This is what the map generated Let's take a look at. We're going to be watching this from Nitro's perspective, by the way. So we get to see him deploy and, maybe do a little bit of thought process on his moves. He's taking stock of the map. So there's a generous amount of hills in the middle of the map, some sparse forests to the north, and even more sparse forest to the south. Looks like there's more forest on the south on Nitro's side of the map, and about an equal amount of forest, if not more forest, on Nitro's side of the map to the north as well.
Yeah, he definitely seems to have more cover. I do appreciate though that the map's relatively balanced. Nitro's going to have to kind of fumble his way around that hill, where Elroy's is a little more like standardized, and he's got a little pocket sniper position if Nitro had deployed further north.
Yeah, that is true. With all these hills in the middle, that I think that's going to be a playground for that spider that Nitro has, and also that Phoenix Hawk. That I'm sorry, the spider and Phoenix Hawk that Nitro has, because Elroy doesn't really have any jumpy boys outside of that Blackhawk, which only jumps for 5.
Well, the jumpy Blackhawk, the jumpy Gargoyle, and if it came down to it, I picked the Gargoyle and the Nova before I picked that single Spider and Phoenix Hawk.
Well, yeah, that is true. The I I'm real interested to see how Elroy deploys this gargoyle, because that I think is going to be the crux of how this match plays out. If he keeps him in the back and hides him until the match is, there's been a little bit of attrition on each side, and then brings him out and starts, destroying things with its ridiculous firepower at short range, uh, then that could be one way to go about it. But uh, I don't know. I don't like having your commander in a jump 7 assault mech that you want to get up close and personal with.
But there's plenty of trees all through the map for that Jump 7 Assault Mech to get up there. I wonder if anyone's going to be shooting trees to try to limit cover.
That is true. There is enough forest and enough level 1, level 2 cover for him to jump around, especially if he comes straight up the middle. I could see him just jumping for 7, 2 turns in a row, getting minimum partial cover from his opponent before getting into rear arcs on the third turn, or side arcs. With a jump of 7, he's going to be very, very maneuverable compared to Nitro. But he is also the objective, so it'll be interesting. I
And
like.
this
I
is
do. Go ahead. Sorry.
this is double blind, so some of the mechs are cell shaded because they are hidden from Elroy for the same reason that not all of Elroy's mechs are seen because Nitro can't see them.
Yeah. Currently, I think only the spider is visible between them right now. Yeah. So he just dropped his Phoenix Hawk down here on the south side, and it's got that U, which means it's been unseen. The only mechs that currently have line of sight to each other are the Night Sky and the Spider.
Is that ice on the map I see?
Uh, it says depth 1. Over there in the top north section, that might be ice. Yes. And down here in the bottom left, that could be ice covered water. Or it could just be water. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, could be. Looks like we got round one about to start here for the maneuvering game.
And it looks like Nitro has lost initiative.
Are you a fan of shooting as much as you can on turn one, or do you like to just, make the match go faster?
Um, if you got the shots, take them. Especially if they're actual shots that are 12 or less. You have the ammo to do so, and you're not trying to conserve ammo on a weapon that's only got like 10 shots. Do it, because I've played against Brad on a few occasions where I was like, oh, he's got shots on me on 11s on turn 1. It'll be fine. This is a decent enough position for me. And sure enough, he nails me with an LRM 20 from across the map on 11s and takes out half of a light mech. So uh, always take the shots if you've got the ammo to afford it.
I agree with you. Obviously, don't overheat, but you know, if you've got 20 rounds worth of ammo and you only have 15 rounds worth of game, yeah, go for it. But if it's like your single ton of LRM 15 ammo and you've only got 7 shots, probably not.
Yeah, no, I would not take 11s or 10s or 12s if you've only got less than 10 shots with that particular weapon.
That's one thing I enjoy about this being a dice game is weird stuff happens. So yeah, I shouldn't have been able to blow your head off turn one on 12s across the map, but I did.
You're giving me flashbacks.
That's a flashback to Funk Soul destroying the head on my thug, causing me not to get first place in that March Mechanist.
Oh, that's also a flashback of Brad destroying one of my blood asps turn one with a Gauss rifle to the head on like 11s or something. Yeah, so it looks like Nitro's taking up residence in the middle of the map with his assault mechs around the hills here. I can only assume he's going to try to get to either that level 3 with the Naginata or that level 2 with the level 4 blocking, kind of. So he has a limited field of fire that can return fire on his commander. And he can also still threaten a good portion of the map while maintaining partial cover.
So Naginata looks like he's just going to do a slow little chump walk up the top there, which makes sense given he can both indirect fire with really short ranges from that Phoenix Hawk later, or he's got partial cover from a few angles.
Yeah, and the gargoyle is carrying the elementals like I suspected earlier, and it looks like he's going a little slower than I had originally anticipated, and taking partial cover on the level 2 behind the level 3. Spider looks like it jumped for at least 7 and landed in a forest to give itself a decent TMM. There's no point in shooting at that thing from this far away.
Is there really any point shooting at that thing unless it gets less than a 5 or a 10 jump?
Not really. Not unless you've got pulse lasers or it's your only shot. Or you have a very, very exposed mech that it can just go to town on the rear arc of.
That Nighthawk, I think, is not long for this world. He's already sizing it up like a piece of meat.
Yeah, it's a little far forward. He doesn't have cover. He doesn't even have forest cover. Oh, look, there we go. He's already shooting at that heavy woods like you thought he might earlier. So your prophecy is coming to fruition.
If I was trying to destroy a jumpy list, there's two ways I would do it if I didn't have jumpy mechs myself. One is to remove the cover to make it an easier shot, but also two is go and kick it. If you can't get a good number, kicks are -2 to hit, and you've got heavy mechs that can do it. So like that Akuma, okay, I'm going to shoot you on 11s, or I'm just going to kill the woods. That brings it down to 9, and then I'm pulse kicking you. I'm on 7s now, and if I hit you, it's 18 damage.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something to be said about kicking the little jumpy boys that get too close. Now, the Regent isn't on the hill, it's on the north end of the map. I'm assuming it's going to run to that heavy woods or near that heavy woods that Nitro's already shooting at. Because the Regent, like we mentioned earlier, is both a longer ranged poking mech and also a shorter range brawling mech.
Yeah, this is some very good, just solid basic tactics that Nitro is throwing out there. I wish I could see what Elroy's doing and give him prompts and praise as well, but from Nitro's perspective, taking out some of those woods is a good starting point.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't have good shots, at least you can deny your opponent good cover.
Other thing which you may not think about is that destroying those woods means he's converting rough hexes, so that region's going to start taking PSRs if it runs through them.
Also true. It starts to close the map in on some of these jumpier boys. So here is the weapon attack phase. Looks like the terrain took some damage. He took some pot shots in the Battlemaster with the Nighthawk, but missed. And the MRM cleared the heavy woods and turned it into light woods. All right, so there we go.
I'm surprised the both the Nighthawk and the Regent didn't fire their ERIS larges.
You know what? He may not want to start clearing forests. He might be relying on them on his end or not considering it. A lot of people don't really consider shooting at forests. It's more of an advanced tactic. You don't
Seems.
really see that on tabletop because it's a lot of record keeping.
Oh yeah, no one does that on tabletop. That's no, that's like doing a DFA. You better really, really know what you're doing and keep up with that. That's on you.
Yeah, agreed.
So I noticed though that they had to re-roll on that initiative, and that command console looks like it's already coming, coming into play.
Yeah, they both rolled a 9, which Nitro technically rolled a 7, and on the reroll, Elroy rolled a 5, and Nitro rolled an 11, which was technically another 9 plus 2. So the plus 2, uh, I think, is pretty good investment. I'm not sure what the battle value cost is for that command console, but hey man, winning initiative is its own reward.
I think a Noop did the math one time, and it wasn't cheap, but it was only a couple hundred. And maybe I would feel better about having a command console than I would having a 300 BV unit on the field just doing it sync.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because they're definitely a liability in this format.
Hold on, what's that Blackhawk doing?
Looks like it's YOLOing up close and personal. I don't know if I like that move. He is not gonna have cover against the Naginata. He does currently have cover against the Battlemaster and the Akuma, but they both haven't moved yet. They can get up to level 2, and I don't know if they really have shots on it, but if they can get line of sight to it, it will not have cover from them if they can get on the level 2 hill.
Do it. Do it, Nitro. I see what you're doing. Get a rear shot on that Blackhawk, and he's trying to see where the Gargoyle can go to get return fire.
Yeah, that's scary. I don't know if I like that move. You're that gargoyle can jump for 7, and you're right in prime jumping territory if you do that.
He's reserving it for later.
Yeah, definitely a good call. Move some of your bigger boys that uh, can take the hits, and then move your Phoenix Hawk. Your light mechs and or jumpy mediums, also known as initiative darlings, should generally be moved last.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to move something where you go, aha, I can get in your rear, and now you're in my rear.
Yeah, that's how conga line starts. We all seen them. You've all been a part of them. Tactically speaking, that may not be the best choice. Although, maybe it is the best choice. You never know.
Well, now he's committed that Gargoyle, so this is where something cheesy to do. Not cheesy, but something, I guess, smart to do. Those battle armor are now deployed. If he wanted, he could use something to spot an indirect fire on that battle armor and just wipe it off the field real quick.
Yeah, the battle armor are vulnerable the turn that they are deployed. They can't shoot, they can't move, they have 0 TMM. They're literally sitting ducks on the turn that they get chump dumped. So the spider is going to jump into position to get rear shots on the Man of War from the looks of it. And maybe it should spot for the Naginata. I mean, it's going to make its shots worse, but uh, it might be worth it. I'm not too sure.
Would you take the higher would you take the higher target number on the gargoyle because it's the commander and it'd be the bigger payoff, or would you take the easier shot on the Nova, knowing that you could get through thinner armor on a lower target?
No, it's the objective. I go for the objective. I would take the shots on the gargoyle on the rear arc every day of the week. You never know. You might get a lucky 3 armor crit on that arm and give him 2 pilot hits and give him a dirt nap.
Turd nap, I like that.
Or, well, I guess it's a command console nap, but You know, you know what I mean. Now, it's interesting that he turned the spider the way he did. I definitely would have jumped the spider directly into the rear of that Man-O-War to take advantage of your sword there.
I think it's something to do with that Nighthawk. Because
Uh,
why else would you focus it that way instead of just pointing it directly?
yeah, he's definitely worried about maybe the Nighthawk moving up to get rear shots on the spider, but you could have moved the spider up one hex and still faced it that direction, torso twisted it, and got your sword swing off on the leg of the Man-O-War or the battle armor, and just bonk one of those guys and go golfing a little. But yeah, I would definitely go all in on the rear of that Man-O-War if possible, because where
Yeah,
he's at currently with that spider is not rear arc on the Man-O-War.
correct. Which makes me think between that and his Phoenix Hawk, I think he's actually going to try to pop the Nova.
That might be the case. The Nova is significantly less armored. It doesn't have as high of a TMM because it can't jump for 7. Uh, so that might be the easier target, but it is also not the objective target. So not the way I would have gone with it. That, and it looks like he's pouring his fire into it with the Naginata and the Battlemaster. That's got to be short range on most of his weapons because of the Phoenix Hawk spotting for him. Yep, and you're right. It looks like full on Alpha Strike focus firing down that Blackhawk. Phoenix Hawk, the Spider, the Battlemaster, the Naginata, and it would not surprise me if the Akuma joins in as well.
The prophecy's coming true.
Yeah, that was a good call. One thing to note, it is simultaneous firing, so it doesn't look like Nitro has to wait in between shots. So this should go decently quick, at least on his end. Huh. The ranges on that LRM did not look like standard LRM ranges on the infantry when it popped up.
I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Well, it looks like he's done firing. We'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit until we get to the combat log, and then
Oh,
we'll pull up
something
our
happened.
own handy dandy combat log so we can go through it at our own snail's pace.
Snail's pace, but I'm already getting jitters.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the Battle Master had rolls of 10s and 12s and just whiffed everything on the Nova. So the Nova's safe there. Naginata also whiffed almost everything except for an ER medium laser. So the Nova's completely fine currently. The Spider whiffs almost everything on 8s except for one ER small laser. So he's
Ooh,
only been hit twice for three mechs shooting at it. The Gargoyle returns fire onto the Battlemaster, shaves off some armor here and there, nothing to write home about. Phoenix Hawk hits with one of the Snubnose PPCs and hits the leg, which is never where you want to hit on the rear table. Unfortunate. That is not good for Nitro there. I don't think. Uh,
well, but let's see. The Akuma needs 11s and 9s. It misses, but that's that MRM40 shenanigans. Nighthawk, it's a large laser on the Phoenix Hawk on the left torso, which was one of those very, endangered sides. But let's talk about this Black Hawk. There's a lot of rolls happening here.
yeah, there are 12 medium chemical lasers, and it looks like he's firing every single one of them. Let's count how many he hits with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's actually pretty good odds, needing 9s across the board for these medium chemical lasers, and he hits with 5 of them. That's a good outcome for him. Doesn't look like he's got any through armor crits or anything, just a smattering of damage across the mech, but it is going to be enough to generate a PSR on it.
And now those PSRs could be more deadly than the damage that actually happens this turn.
Oh, definitely. And then the Regent following it up onto the Naginata with all 3 ER large lasers hitting on 7s. So the roll's definitely favoring Elroy this first turn. That's 30 damage to that region, or I'm sorry, to that Naginata round turn one. That left arm is down to 5 armor already after getting double tapped.
That's why I said he wasn't firing anything. It's because I couldn't see it because of simultaneous firing. Oh, okay.
Oh, and here we are. Here's the Battle Master. He took 40 plus damage, so that's an extra +2 to that PSR roll. Needs a 7, rolls 3, and falls. Now he takes another 9 damage, which is not good. Uh, there's 2 pilots in here, so it looks like they both take a hit for the fall because they both failed their seatbelt check on 7s, which is interesting. And they both made their consciousness check. I wonder what happens if only one of them makes it. That's real interesting.
I think
I have to
it's
keep an
something like one of them takes over. So if the pilot dies, essentially, then or blacks out, then the commander takes over piloting, but you lose the command console, and vice versa. If the commander dies or blacks out, then the pilot just doesn't get the command console bonus, I think.
Gotcha. We'll have to keep an eye on that in the future. And also, the Naginata needs to make his roll and does on 6s. So there we go. PSRs all dealt with for that turn. Physical attack phase. Phoenix Hawk kicks the Nighthawk and misses. Nighthawk kicks the Phoenix Hawk and hits, needing 8s, whereas poor old Nitro missed on 6s. So yeah, the dice gods definitely favoring Elroy on this opening turn. At least the Phoenix Hawk did not fall.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad for a highly mobile mech to fail a PSR because A, it can't jump next turn, but also B, it's going to have a lower target number.
Yeah, and lower target number is definitely not one of the things you want to hear as a Phoenix Hawk pilot. Uh, Going into round 3, it looks like that command console is coming in clutch. Elroy rolls a 5, Nitro rolls a 4, but he gets the +2 for the command console, so ends up winning initiative for round number 3 as well. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so here's all those ECM bubbles coming into play. I don't think now that we're in the middle of the match, I don't think Elroy has any ECM. So the only way for him to get rid of that C3 network is to take out the Naginata or the Phoenix Hawk itself, or get a lucky crit on the actual C3 network unit.
Correct. Oh, he's going after the region with the spider though.
Oh, there we go. It looks like Elroy moved the Regent first, and then Nitro immediately follows up with jumping the Spider into the rear arc. This time, he can get that sword to bear. I would have liked to see him get the sword to bear last turn, but I get it. You're going for maximum TMM. +5 versus +4 is a significant difference.
Now, that's also one way to try to combat Jumpy Pulse is if Elroy kept everything in a tight ball in the middle, then Nitro has to jump out really far in order to get a TMM to then jump back in next turn. Otherwise, he's just jumping a little bit and it's going to get blown out of the sky.
Exactly. You have to jump for 7 minimum with that spider in order to keep it alive. And if you stay in a nice tight knit ball, you will not be jumping for 7. I guarantee you. And staying in the rear arc of one of those enemy mechs, unless it's the Manamore that also happened to jump for 7. But we'll see. It looks like he jumped the elementals next, which I think he should have probably moved first. Especially considering where he moved them to is very defensive, which is understandable. He wants to get in close and start leg attacking some of those assault mechs. At least that's my guess.
He might have wanted to see where those mechs were going to go just so he knew the elementals wouldn't be totally useless. But there goes the gargoyle way over there challenging the Naginata.
Yeah, the Naginata looks like it did not move, and that gargoyle just jumped for 7 into short range with all of its weapons. I'm pretty sure. This could be a brutal round for that Naginata. He needs to deal with that gargoyle. He's playing that gargoyle far more aggressively than I would have ever dreamed to play it, considering it's his commander.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, that's true. It is a gargoyle. You got to play it like you can't play that mech any other way with the way it's built. If you do, you're wasting battle value. If you're trying to be delicate with it. So he's going to move the Battle Master up into melee with the elementals. Maybe he's just going to focus them down and wipe them out to give himself some quick, easy points. Not necessarily easy per se, because they did jump for 3 hexes. So they're going to have a decent TMM to shoot at.
Those elementals are on level 1 or 0.
They are on level 0, so they're in prime kicking position for that Battle Master.
Yep, because there's a lot of medium lasers there to start scraping at them. There's that SRM 6 to do some damage. But kicking,
Oh my. Okay, the Nova jumps to the rear arc of the Battle Master. That's a lot of medium chemical lasers into the rear arc of a very early Inner Sphere assault mech. Now, it looks like he's going to move the Akuma up just barely. I would run it and get it into melee so you get the opportunity to kick that Nova.
well, he wants to get that medium range 40 missiles, though. He doesn't want to get too bad of a penalty on it either. So
Yeah.
I think what he's doing now is he's going, that regent is going to take a couple shots. I want to stay in such a way that I get a +1 bonus defensively, but I want to stay out of range of that regent's main weapons, which is exactly why he was looking at the regent's weapon ranges.
Yeah, no, I get why he did it defensively, but you've already been compromised offensively or defensively by that and Blackhawk getting in the rear arc of that Battle Master. I honestly, I don't like this situation one bit. That Naginata is left to fend for itself. That Night Sky and that Manowar are going to tear into it. Granted, the Nighthawk's only going to do like maybe 16 damage, but still.
16 is, just 4 away from a PSR.
It's also enough to get internal on that left arm. One shot from either of those larges is enough to deal with that Naginata.
And that Phoenix Hawk is lining up a kick to the head of the Nighthawk as well.
Yeah. So the Phoenix Hawk is doing what it should be doing. The Naginata is doing what it should be doing. But I really don't think that. Oh, hey, rear lasers on the Battlemaster coming into play. What do you know? Okay, sorry. Back to the point I was trying to make. I really don't think you should have had that Akuma and Battlemaster stray that far away from the Naginata. There's a lot of terrain in between the Naginata and his 2 assault mechs. He's basically left the Naginata out to dry, and damn, that Manowar and Nighthawk are going to light a match under it to make it dry real quick.
Oh, this got real spicy really fast, and I love it.
Yeah. All right, we're going to have to see how this shakes out. We'll fast forward a little bit through the target selection phase because some of the shots are obvious. Battlemaster and Akuma onto that Nova, Naginata onto the Manowar, and something from the Naginata onto the Nighthawk, probably the LRMs because the Manowar is in minimum range. I'm assuming the Phoenix Hawk, is going in on the Naginata. Or, I'm sorry, not Naginata, the Night Sky. Okay, we're into the firing phase. Let's pull up our log so we can slowly parse through this. Okay, so Battlemaster gets up, which we saw that earlier, getting into the weapon attack phase, going straight into the Gargoyle J. Looks like he's firing the 4 improved heavy mediums. Needs 6s, and he only hits with 2. Okay. Dice God's starting to go back in the favor of Nitro a little bit there. Missing 2 out of 4 6s is rough. But he does go internal on the left arm, no crit. So that left arm is barely hanging by a thread.
And that Battlemaster is just doing Inner Sphere Battlemaster stuff, needing 9s and 11s and missing everything except for 1 trooper.
Oh man, that Battlemaster is not being very effective right now. Yeah, nines across the board for most weapons, and 12s the PPCs, and 11 for the rear arc medium lasers. Those are just really high numbers. I mean, it's an intro tech mech. You're spending a lot of battle value on that command console, but man, it needs to pull its weight, and it's not doing it right now.
So I'm a little bittersweet about this Nova because he's getting a lot of hits in the rear arc.
No, he's not. Look
Oh,
at the
he's
target he decided to shoot
he's
at.
the Akuma.
I, uh, um,
Why?
yeah, why would you not go for the rear arc of the Battlemaster? I'm a little confused here. You jumped specifically into the rear arc of that Battlemaster, and you're not taking advantage of it. You need sixes to hit the Akuma, which means you likely needed sixes to hit the Battlemaster. Why did you not take the rear shots when given the opportunity? This is a question for the ages, and I think this might be a very big mistake, if you ask me.
Knowing Nitro, there's something we're not seeing. Either that Battlemaster had a higher TMM, or possibly he's got something else that maybe he thought would wipe it out, or he just thought it wasn't a threat.
I mean, unless that Battlemaster's got some hidden reflective armor on it, you're right in your assessment of it's not a threat. Apparently, it can't hit a damn thing right now. So that could be the logic he was going with, but I still say you take the rear arc every single chance you get on an assault mech.
Call of the rear is strong.
Yeah, and I usually answer that call every time. Okay, so getting into the Naginata firing back, ERPPC on the Nighthawk whiffs, but the two LRM-15s do hit the Nighthawk, lighting him up a little bit, shaving the armor down on the left leg in particular. Zero armor remaining on that left leg, and he plinks the Gargoyle J with an ER small laser for all of 3 damage to the right torso. So
The spider comes back on that Regent and sandblasts it a little.
yeah, he hits with 3 out of 5 ER smalls, which isn't bad. What is bad though is that you're hitting the left leg twice and the right arm once, so you're not hitting those torsos that you really want to hit when you're in the rear arc.
Let's not even talk about the Regents rolling.
We'll get there in a second. Let's deal with the Phoenix Hawk first.
Oh yeah.
He does nail. So far, this Phoenix Hawk is probably the most accurate mech on the field outside of that Nova, which has really low numbers. Phoenix Hawk nails the Nighthawk with both snub nose PPCs. One does 10 damage to the left torso, only 7 structure remaining, no crit, and the other one shaves off the remaining armor on the right arm. So that Nighthawk is taking a bit of a beating right now.
Wonder if he'll become a victim of his own success, where he jumped there to kick the Nighthawk, but he accidentally tipped it over from doing too much damage. But I don't know if he fell or not. That's just an interesting factoid that may occur.
Yeah, suffering from success is something that happens occasionally in Battletech. Looking at the Regent, on the other hand, he is definitely not suffering from success. That is suffering from failure there, and that is a lot of failed shots. Needs 7 on the LB-20 whiffs. He's only got 10 shots with that thing, and then he needs 5s for 2 of those ER larges and 5s on the medium pulse, and whiffs all 3.
Mm.
Okay, this is Princess's makeup for last turn. Uh, as far as I'm concerned with the luck, misses the streak on 7s, but nails the second medium pulse on 9s on the spider. So spider's taking a little bit of damage to the right leg.
Well, maybe we should call out what the tiebreaker is in this event.
Oh yeah, what is the tiebreaker for Are You Afraid of the Dark Age?
So rather than keeping up with certain individual secondary objectives, as a way to make it a little less crappy to miss on fives, fours, or threes, if you do happen to miss on one of those numbers, you get a tiebreaker point, which comes in handy later if there are any ties, and sometimes those tiebreaker points do determine events. But if you miss on a 5, 4, or 3, log it, and then at the end of the event, those get totaled together, and it may make a difference in a few matches.
Yeah. So that region is farming tiebreaker points for Elroy currently. That's 3 right there, missing those 5s. But getting back to the Akuma, the MRM 40 finally hits on 7s, and he gets 24 missiles out of those 40 to hit. Not bad, actually. Lights up the Blackhawk, shaving the armor pretty much all across the board. Center torso, right torso, left leg, right arm, center torso again. And then he nails him with the LBX. Solid shot for 10 damage to the center torso. 4 armor remaining there on the center torso of that Blackhawk. That's surprising. That's a lot of armor that's been shaved off that Blackhawk in 2 turns.
There's not a lot on there to begin with, so that back to those Blackhawks can put out a lot of damage, but you got to keep them from receiving.
Oh, that's fair. Yep, that is very aggressive for a lightly armored mech.
But you don't want to talk about aggression. What the heck is going on with these elementals?
Okay, looks like the ER Micro misses on 4s for Alroy's. That's another uh, tiebreaker point. He nails him with the auto rifle, plinks him for 2 damage to center torso, and then the SRM2 does connect with 6 missiles total hitting. So that's 1 through armor crit to the right leg, but nothing comes of it because the roll is only a 5, and then a smattering of damage across the rest of the mech with a headshot. So that's that's the second
That's the
headshot.
second one.
Yeah. So the pilot, which is Bob, apparently needs a 5, rolls an 8, so he's good. And then the commander also needs a 5 and rolls a 9, so they're both good. So they're both taking the headshot, and they're both rolling for consciousness checks. So I'm curious to see what happens when, or I would like to see one of them fail and one of them succeed, and see how it'll affect the outcome.
Well, and that's why he's not shooting the Battle Master. He's just going to kill the meat inside of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's not a bad plan either. Now, looking at the Nighthawk here, returning fire on that Phoenix Hawk, nails him in the right torso for 8 damage with that ER large, misses with the other large, but nails him in the left arm with the medium pulse. So, returning a decent amount of fire to that Phoenix Hawk, but I think the Phoenix Hawk got the better of the exchange there.
The Black Hawk at least passes its PSR. Just, but it passed.
Oh, here we go. Now, suffering from success happens. Are you sure you didn't peek earlier? Because this Nighthawk just fell, but I think that you'll take it if you're Nitro, because he did land on his left leg and go internal and take a hip and lower leg actuator hit, which honestly is already a death sentence for that Nighthawk, which means
So,
it's not going anywhere.
yeah, so I didn't peek. I was just thinking of what else could go wrong.
And yeah, that is a big thing that could go wrong. But in this case, Nitro gets the consolation prize of it hipped himself, so he's pretty boned as far as I'm concerned. 6'9" just went down to like what, a 4-6
Well,
maybe,
well,
on top
plus,
of the -2 for any PSRs to stand up.
well, -2, you got the lower leg as well. That's 3 right there because the hip is 2,
Uh,
I think.
yeah, the hip is 2, but the hip should trump the lower leg actuator hit.
Oh, I always thought it was an addition.
No, out of the standard rules, if you lose a lower leg and a foot actuator, and then you lose a hip as well, the hip overrides those other 2, and you just get the -2 for hip and all the penalties that come along with it. Because
Today I learned.
I think he can no longer run with the hip, or no, he
Yes.
can't. He definitely can't kick. So that Nighthawk's not going anywhere. And
Or
he
maybe it's a PSR if you run.
That might be it too. I don't remember off the top of my head. But on top of that, he does fail his seatbelt check and take a pilot hit on the Nighthawk too. So not looking good for that Nighthawk. Naginata makes its piloting check, as does the Akuma, needing 6s. So one thing to note, all of Alroy's mechs are 3-4. And nitros are a little different. Some of them are 5, some of them are 4. So he's going to be needing higher piloting rolls to stay standing.
Well, also, Nitro's dice are running hot. Needs 6, roll 7, compared to that Regent's needs 5s, roll 2.
Yeah, that's also, you know, comes down to the dice there.
You want to give yourself the best odds possible, but sometimes it just sucks.
Oh, yeah. All right, now for the fisticuff portion, Battlemaster punts one of the elementals into oblivion. 17 damage to Trooper 3 makes Trooper 3 not exist anymore. The spider
Oh,
punches. Is that once or looks like it's twice? Okay, yeah. So he punches twice onto the Regent, takes 3 damage in the rear left torso from that spider punch, and he misses the second punch, but he did need 8s.
why
So
would you punch though instead of using that sword to give you a better chance unless you just wanted to roll twice?
Uh, yeah, it's A, rolling twice, and then B, fishing for head hits. Because the sword rolls in the full body table unless you take that +4 penalty.
Oh, that's right, that's right. So he would have hit the sword on 10s on the punch table instead of 8s on the punch table. I'm with you. And
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
fishing for head hits was exactly what I was thinking that that sword was for. So yeah, whatever the lower number is for you to get head hits, fish.
yeah. So that sword, now that I think about it, for the spider is kind of moot. I don't think I would ever use that sword unless there's a situation where you automatically roll on the punch table or the target's immobile already and you go for the called shot with the sword.
But it does look cool.
It definitely does look cool. All right.
Anyway,
Getting into round 4, Elroy rolls a 7 for initiative. Nitro rolls an 11 plus 2 for a total of 13. So this is, I think, every turn so far, Nitro may have won initiative, and the command console did make a difference on one of those turns at least.
let's take a look at where Elroy's moving. So
Okay, it looks like it's Nitro's turn to move, so Elroy must have already moved something by now.
uh, probably that
There
Nighthawk
we
because it
go.
looks phased out and it's shifted a little.
Yeah, so he may have tried to stand up. I think it was already facing that way, or he may have just decided to not bother moving it because he's prone behind level 1. So the only thing that's going to be able to hit him is that Phoenix Hawk or something else that he moves in order to get an angle on him. So he's relatively safe where he's at right now. So no need to really move him out from there or attempt to stand on a terrible target number.
So the LRM carriers move back a little bit. That's your init sync again. So really, he's got a +2 advantage in terms of he wins initiative, and he has a cheap init sync, and he's got the Naginata, who really isn't going to be moving too much. He's already moved
Yeah.
it too, but I'm kind of worried about the fact that that gargoyle has not moved yet.
Yeah, no, I don't like that one bit. And I don't know if I like that one bit either. Gargoyle jumps behind the Naginata. I think that might be rear arc, just barely.
That's barely, but it is rear arc. Yes.
But I mean, why not jump to melee range and also get a punch off?
Because he's got weapons in both arms.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the heat sinks to fire all the weapons in both arms. You can either fire all the weapons in the arm that's got the improved heavy mediums, or you do half and half. So he just fires all 4 improved heavy mediums, jumps, and then punches with his other arm. Because I think the punch is going to do more damage than the ER laser or 2 ER lasers. Although I might be mistaken.
Or, hear me out, you fire everything and then you jump to the northwest into those heavy woods 7x's away to cool off and get a defensive bonus.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a strategy. Every time I hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, you alpha strike in short range and then you jump out and you cool down for a turn." I feel like that almost never happens.
We should play more.
Well, I mean, you do it, but I know a lot of other players don't do that because they go for the I'll stay neutral so I can get more shots off next turn.
Let me introduce you to the Crimson Hawk 2, which for some reason has 20 heat sinking capacity, but 2 heavy, large lasers.
Ooh, oh, yeah.
And
No,
that's its only weapons.
wow. Yeah, no, you're never sinking all of that heat.
So it looks like is that the Akuma? No, that's the Battlemaster. He's moving up to try to maybe screen. He's flipping between. He's weighing up some options here because that region's giving him a bit of a problem.
Yeah, definitely. The regent is not moving. He's in his little sniper nest and he's staying put. I don't blame him. He's in a decent spot. He's got a decent field of fire. He's got uh, 2 assault mechs that are within his firing arc without cover currently, or with minimal cover, I should say. That spider cannot stay there. I do not think. I think that spider should move. But
Spider's going to be going after the Nova wherever it goes.
yeah, but he has to move something now. He's weighing his options, looking like he wants to move the Battle Master somewhere. I don't know if you move it closer or try to get 3 forests in between you and that regent, so that way the regent has minimal shots on targets. But
Uh, well,
or
maybe you reverse the Akuma to take advantage of the Gargoyle being there, or the Battlemaster turning and doing some weird stuff would be probably unnatural at this point.
yeah, he can go to, it looks like Hex 2111 right below those 2 forests that are south of the regent. And I think that might give him a blocked line of sight with 3 forests in the way from the regent. But he will also have his back exposed so that Nova will be able to just waltz right up and give him the rear shots that he should have gave him last turn.
The Nova's not attracted to the Battlemaster. We already saw that.
For whatever reason, yeah, you're right.
Although I might want to kill the Battlemaster just to get rid of that initiative bonus.
Yeah, that does make it a very juicy target, which means it's even more interesting as to why he didn't go for the rear arc on the Battlemaster. Now, I would kind of like to see that Nova just waltz up to the rear arc of the Battlemaster if it can get there with its 8 movement or 8 run. I don't think it can jump there.
No, but even if you can't jump there, doing something to try to get onto that Naginata and force a PSR, I mean, that's the objective. You could kill his entire force except for the commander and get the same points as if you just kill that gargoyle.
Yeah, very true. But the commander is the primary objective. So maybe you're right. Maybe he jumps that Nova cat or that Nova / Blackhawk south and gets shots on the Naginata. I mean, it didn't move. It'll be in medium range, I think, if you jump 5 down and a little bit to the left. Why not? Nope.
Oh, that's interesting. He jumped directly in front of the Battlemaster.
Yeah, I don't like that. Not one bit. Now you're in prime kicking range of the Battlemaster. You're also in short range for all of the Phoenix Hawks' weapons.
And
And,
consequently, the Naginata's weapons.
and yeah, and that Akuma can just move up a little bit and get even better shots. He does jump the battle armor back down to back up that Blackhawk, but I don't think that's going to be the difference maker in that engagement there.
Well, and the Spider can jump and get a kickoff on the Blackhawk, too.
The spider actually did not jump. It stayed still in the
Oh,
rear arc of the Regent.
he didn't even do the little, dance to get a TMM?
Yeah, I would have at least, did the little whip around that is, where you just kind of do a
Oh,
loop to get a minimal TMM.
I hope that Regent torso twists so it can punch on a low number and just blow that spider's face off.
Hell, I hope it just torso twists and blasts it to death with those 3 ER larges.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
because they're in the right arm, I think.
yeah, I think they're all in one arm. Yeah, that I don't like that move with the spider. I don't like that move with the Blackhawk. There's a significant number of questionable maneuvering, at least in my book here. They might have their reasons. We're not listening to any comms that they're having, and we're not going to let them defend themselves because they're not here. So they can type in the comments why they made some of these interesting decisions or let us know on Discord, either one.
I don't yell at the TV when sports are on, but I would be doing this right now.
Yeah, this is one of those scary movie moments like, no, don't go in there. The murderer's in there.
We should split up, gang.
Yeah, it's like, no, don't stand still with your spider. Jump, or at least do the little whip around thing where you come back to the same X. No, don't jump into melee range with the assault mech with your medium mech, or very light heavy mech. I don't remember how many tons the Nova is.
Yeah, it's only 50 tons or 55, one of the two.
Yeah, okay, I was right. So yeah, do not jump your medium mech into melee with the Battle Master. That is not the ideal maneuver.
Well, again, there's a reason for it. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he could be trying to get rid of that command console, but I would very much so like to see him get rid of the commander, which is the objective, first. Come to think of it, he hasn't put, or Nitro has put very minimal shots on that gargoyle. I'm
Well,
sorry,
it's,
on the gargoyle, and I don't like that.
well, it's jumpy, and if I was looking at this from the view of the lobby, that Blackhawk is a lot of damage with very little armor. So I do a little damage. What's my return? I get rid of something that could jump in my rear and explode me. I'd also probably focus down that Blackhawk first.
Yeah, I understand the logic there, but I'm of the mind of playing for the objective, especially in cut off the head. It's one me matches where, yeah, I've been almost tabled. The only thing I had left was my commander, but I destroyed the enemy's commander, and that won me the match. Uh,
True.
and that happened to me multiple times. And I think it was Twilight Heat last year around this time. So
So that Akuma is trying to weigh up its shots. It doesn't really seem interested in the region, but it's trying to figure out if the damaged Blackhawk behind cover is worth a shot or the fresh gargoyle that he has to shoot through one level of woods that's next to him is a better target.
yeah, from the looks of it, it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hex jump for the gargoyle, and I think a 4 hex jump for the Blackhawk. Oh, here we go. We're getting into the shooting phase. Those target numbers may have been the exact same, or slightly worse for the whatchamacallit, for the Nova because of the
Well,
cover.
let's bring up your log because my eyeballs can't read.
Okay, here we go. Pulling up the combat. Looks like there was some movement that was hidden, but we saw it all. So don't worry about that. Okay, firing. First up is the gargoyle, and it is unloading everything, or almost everything, into the rear of the Naginata. Doesn't look like anything goes internal. He only hits the center torso once, twice, and the right torso rear once. So he's not getting the clustering that he really wants, but he is internal on the center torso rear on the enemy's command mech. That is scary. Uh,
We got the Blackhawk following it up too here with medium chemical lasers into the Battlemaster, but it's just hitting the front until there's a lot of lines of text that just came with one of these lasers.
oh, there we go. That's another head hit on the Battlemaster. I think that's the second one. Oh no, third one.
Third.
Wow, he's on 7s to remain conscious, and he's only got 2 armor remaining on the head, which means 5 health total. One more medium laser to the dome, and that is a dead Battlemaster. Doesn't look like he gets it this turn, at least not with the Nova, but that is a lot of damage going out. He's internal on the left arm. It looks like he's internal on the right arm. He's internal on the CT. No. He's not internal on the CT, but that was a 3 armor crit.
True armor.
But so he's internal in a couple of places, and the head's got 5 health left. So needing 7s across the board, he hit with, I think, every single laser. No, one. He missed with 2 out of the 10 that he has, or 12 that he has.
That is a very efficient heat mech.
Yes, it is. That is terrifying. Moving on, the Naginata lights up the Blackhawk in return, needing 7s. He misses 2 of them. I'm sorry, misses 1, hits with 2 of them. LRM-15s go internal on the center torso, but doesn't really find any crit fruit there. Not that much damage onto the Nova from that Naginata, but it's understandable. It's a fire support mech.
I'd like to get crit fruit printed up as a sticker for the Discord. That's
Or crit fish too. You never know. I go crit fishing.
Oh, let's see. The battle armor though, it's trying to do that. Micro laser, kind of teases around. It looks like he's internal on the right arm.
Yep. So he does do a smattering of damage to that Battlemaster, fishing for more crits and/or head hits. Doesn't find any, except for an upper arm actuator on the right arm, which is, that's not nothing. So I'll take it. Elementals getting their use, but that is their second SRM2 shot. So they will be far less effective going forward as far as damage is concerned, unless they start going for leg attacks.
The Phoenix Hawk is also pouring into that Black Hawk. Needs 8s. One of the 2 snub noses hits.
Yep, and the arm still had a decent amount of armor from the looks of it. So not getting the clusters that Nitro really wants. Regent firing on the Akuma. LBX nails the Akuma. It's a slug round, so he takes 20 damage to the right torso. Ouch, that hurts. 2 ER larges on 6s, 1 hits on the center torso. Still got 33 armor there. That big boy is shrugging that off pretty well. But he is going to be needing to make a piloting check. Misses with the medium pulse, misses with the SRM4, and the second medium pulse, which was actually aimed at the spider again, which if he had more weapons, the more weapons to aim at that spider, I think the better. Maybe those ER larges aren't in the arm, and we were for whatever reason he decided to go for the Akuma instead. But he does get a lower leg actuator on the spider with that medium pulse laser, so not a bad investment there. 1 medium pulse laser for a lower leg actuator on a very fast mech.
Doesn't that mean if he jumps, he has to take a PSR now?
It might be for the lower leg. It may not be. I think it's only going to affect that might only affect his run speed. I could be mistaken. The lower leg is one of those ones that's, I think, not as bad as like the hip. The hip, for sure, he has to make a piloting check.
Does demonstrate at least, though, one of the best defenses against backstabbers is to have pulse lasers in your arms, so you can make exactly that shot.
Exactly. Very, very big advocate for arm-mounted pulse lasers on mechs that can wrist flip and/or arm flip. Next up is the Battlemaster, and oh man, this guy needs to go back to training or something.
What do you mean? He's literally got the trainer behind him.
Well, that trainer needs to do a damn better job of yelling at this guy. He needs 9s and misses almost all of them. He does hit with the SRM6 and gets a headshot with one of those missiles, but the pilot stays conscious. He missed with almost everything. That is just not good. What are the skills on this thing? He's 4.5, right? It feels like he's a 6.6.
Mm-hmm.
So that Blackhawk is surviving for another round. He is internal on the center torso. So, man, not going good for Nitro this turn. Speaking of which, let's get into the spider. Those ER smalls are lighting up the rear arc of the Regent Prime, only hitting the right torso rear once, and the rest hitting arms, legs, or missing. not what you want to see.
So
And
it's not that I'm
okay.
biased, but on the Akuma, I'm definitely getting that meme feeling of come on, do something with that MRM 40 because I want to see that just light up somebody. But he missed again.
Yeah, he hit with it once. Needing tens on the second shot, he rolled a 9. I mean, it's got the Apollo, so it's not the +1. You're just not getting good target numbers with that thing. Snub hits on the gargoyle, so he's finally doing some damage to that gargoyle, but it's not really enough.
Yeah, and then the mechanized trooper here needs 4, rolls for 20 troopers hitting, causing 10 damage. So if there's 20 troopers and it's two, I'm trying to do the math there, but that sounds like it's just straight up. That's not a half damage a point. That's weird math.
Yeah, no, it's some funky. Yeah, I'm not going to even bother trying to figure that out. Let's get into the piling checks. Man of War makes his piloting skill roll on a 5. Blackhawk fails his on a 6 and falls, takes another piloting check, doesn't make his seatbelt roll. So that's 2 hits. He stays conscious though, but those piloting hits are starting to add up on a couple of mechs here. Battlemaster thankfully makes their piloting check off of 60 damage. Whew. Even 8 rolled a 9. So that's looking good for Nitro there, but Naginata needs a 7, rolls a 6, and falls. That is not good for the Naginata. He needs to get that bad boy up. Thankfully, he did not go unconscious because he did take the damage from the pilot check. Okay, Spider makes its piloting check, only needing a 4 and rolling a 7. The Akuma needs a 5, rolls a 10, so the Akuma's fine. Okay,
Oh, the
so
Akuma's fine.
all right, only one mech fell this turn, and it was the Naginata, so you should be okay. Should be able to stand back up.
Well, let's get into the physical phase because it sounds like there's a bunch of mechs on the floor now.
Oh, uh-oh. Okay, here we go. Now it's going to get interesting. I see red, and I see a whole lot of red. Uh-oh. Okay, so physical attacks for the gargoyle. I'll do this one. I'll let you do the next one. Gargoyle kicks the infantry platoon, takes 2 damage to men, 18 men alive. So one kick killed 2 troopers. Looks like he got a twofer there. And up next is the Battlemaster. Go ahead, Nitro. Take it or Pirate, take it away with Nitro's Battlemaster kick.
Yeah, so that Battlemaster who is standing in front of a Blackhawk who is on the floor, I think. Um,
Yes, it is.
yep, he kicks 17 damage to the center torso, destroys it. But that's not the exciting part. So there's a lot of engines in that center torso that just got destroyed. More than 6, but hey, he took 6 engine hits this turn, which means we have to roll for a stack pole, and we ended up rolling at 11 on a 10. So that nuclear hellfire just went up. The Blackhawk is gone. The elemental battle armor is just a little too close. It's in the same hex. They took 25 damage. They are gone. And the Phoenix Hawk and the Battlemaster both start taking some damage as well. 12 and 25 damage on the Battlemaster, too.
Yeah, that's a big ouch. I mean, that's real good that he got rid of that Blackhawk, and that's also good that he got rid of that elemental stack that was in the same hex as the Blackhawk. But oh man, uh 25 damage on the Battlemaster and 12 damage on the Phoenix Hawk is not good. So I think that's, I don't know, would you say best case scenario for Elroy or best case scenario for Nitro? I'm not sure who really
Uh,
came out ahead there. Uh
well, we're missing those elementals, but they had already shot their SRM2s, so there's that. But I think it's more of that Blackhawk was going to die this turn or next, so you got that off the field, and that Battlemaster has the armor to tank it. That Phoenix Hawk does not, so there's going to be more critical there because of that.
yeah, it's already down to structure in the left arm because of that explosion. I will say though, that is 2 units off the board for Elroy. So I would technically consider Nitro the winner in that exchange,
Correct.
just because he's gotten the combat objective score there, and now his initiative advantage is going to be even more uh, uh, more significant because he's got more units than Elroy does.
Yep. So he's got 30 out of the 50 combat bonus already. So he's more than halfway to closing out that objective.
Yeah. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and close off the fisticuffs portion with the spider who double punches the regent in the rear, and he actually hits rear torsos twice, one in the center and one in the right torso. Only 4 armor remaining in that right rear torso. Those little spider bites are starting to add up on that rear arc. And the Battlemaster makes it piling skill for taking more than 20 damage during that physical attack phase.
You imagine that commander going, "All right, now kick him," and then just seeing the whole cockpit go red.
You just get a whoosh of explosion, coming out of that mech you just kicked. Ugh.
Well, it looks like the heat phase, not too much there. The gargoyle, we were worried about his heat. He got up to 7, but that's below the 8 needed for a penalty to shoot. So he'll be fine. But let's see if he has the ability to get a rear shot on the Naginata this turn.
And considering the Naginata's on the floor, something tells me he won't have a problem doing that. Although, depending on how Nitro does his initiative order, he may have a problem doing that because Nitro definitely won initiative again for the 5th round in a row with his command console, just trouncing Alroy's roll of 4 with his roll of 8 plus 2 for a 10.
He didn't even need the command console. Damn.
He's already lost.
Every game can be turned around, so don't be saying that. But this is definitely crunch time.
Oh, I meant initiative. Sorry, not the match.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Okay, so yeah. With that being said, getting into the movement phase for round 5, um, the Nighthawk looks like it's moved for Elroy first because, like we said earlier, it's in a decent spot and it can't really move to begin with. So he's only got 2 units left now, which means Nitro's going to have to move 2 or 3 units right now because front loaded initiative is in play.
So, is he actually moving the Naginata first? That sounds like a death sentence.
Yeah, it looks like he is, and I agree with you. That is a death sentence for that Naginata because he can just walk that Mana War up for 2 hexes and unload into the rear arc of that Naginata. Doesn't even
Mhm.
need to jump, and he'll have level 4 cover, so that Akuma has to maneuver uh, and get closer somehow in order to get a decent shot on that gargoyle. I don't even
I,
know. Maybe he can get a shot if that gargoyle goes right behind the Naginata.
I mean, so he's got a jumpy commander, Elroy. I might sacrifice a mech in order to make the enemy's commander go really slow so I get an easy shot on it, but I wouldn't sacrifice my commander to do so.
Yeah, I agree. That and like I said, if he moves that gargoyle up, that level 4 is going to be blocking a significant portion of the map for that gargoyle. It looks like Nitro isn't even bothering to turn any mechs around to help out the Naginata currently. He's just gonna focus down that regent, moving his battle master, and it looks like it's Alroy's turn now. He only moved the battle master, which doesn't seem right. Maybe front loaded initiative was not turned. Oh no, he did move the Naginata. I'm sorry. So he moved 2 units currently. Alroy's gonna move either his Mana War or his regent, and then Nitro will move 2 more mechs, and then he'll move 2 mechs after he moves his last mech, or Alroy moves his last mech, and he'll move 2 mechs on his last turn, or a mech and the mechanized infantry.
That was a lot of math.
Yeah, so basically what it boils down to is Nitro gets to move 2 units every turn, and Elroy only moves 1 because he's outnumbered 2 to 1.
That was less math. Thank you.
Or I should say 6 to 3. So it looks like he's deliberating because this is a tough call on what to move and where.
I
So
would move that regent up to go and back it up in reverse one, so I get a clear line of sight on that battle master and just LBX 20 it.
okay, it looks like he moved the gargoyle, which I don't agree with. That had to be a jump for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I don't think he can run there with his 8 run. And
But
he jumped to the front arc of the Naginata. That is definitely a curious choice, to say the least.
yeah,
I mean, I understand wanting to get that TMM up and being concerned about that Akuma getting shots on you, but um, why did you give up the back arc on the Naginata? Maybe Alroy just doesn't value rear arc shots like we do. And he'd rather just bore through the front of the armor, which looks like he's already started to a decent bit on that Naginata anyway.
or it could be, well, he shouldn't have a piloting penalty for gunnery yet. It might be something just as simple as he wanted to take a turn to cool down, but still get some ER small laser shot. I'm
Yeah,
trying to really stretch it because again, that's not the rule or not the move I would have made. But if I just had my Blackhawk explode, my elementals get crushed under it, and lose initiative again, I may not be thinking the same way.
that is true. He did just suffer a devastating blow that took out 2/5 of his force. Um, yeah, he's not looking good. His Night Sky is pretty much out of commission. He's not in force withdrawal, so he can't even eject it. All he can do is either swivel it in place or try to stand with it and maybe get some pot shots with those ER larges.
I thought he stood with it because it looks like it's not prone anymore.
Is it not prone anymore? I thought it was still prone. I thought he's just been
It says jammed.
no, and it still says. Does it say prone under there? It might. It looks like there's red text under that yellow text.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe I could be wrong, or it could just be a glitch. Because it looks like there's red text under the yellow text on that Man of War too, but that just might be me. Actually, there's it's the ECM that's tinting it. Okay, never mind. So yeah, it looks like maybe he did stand up with that Nighthawk finally. Okay, so where is that Akuma gonna go? You have to make your move now. And it looks like he's gonna save the Phoenix Hawk and the Spider to make sure it can get in the rear of that Regent Prime. I don't know, man. At this point, I think you just walk that Regent up into melee with that Bush or Battlemaster and just unload on it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got the armor, you do the fisticuffs.
Yeah, and you've got that LBX. He's already got 3 head hits on both of his pilots in that Battlemaster. One more head hit, and they're likely both going to be taking a nap.
Well, if you don't find some exposed armor, because you know that thing looks like Swiss cheese.
Oh yeah, it's all lit up across the whole front end of it. It's in red on this little indicator dot, but it also only has 5 armor left in the head. So a laser to the head will put it down. Yeah, I think you just go point blank on that battle master and alpha strike it to get it. Just get
There
rid
we
of
go.
it. Yep, that's the call I would have made.
Although I think he's actually trying to line up the inner sphere large lasers on the Akuma.
Uh, that's not the call I would make. But there's been a lot of calls I would not make that have been made. So you may be onto something there, Pirate.
Well, I was thinking more of inner sphere large to the Akuma. The Battlemaster has a low target number. Use your pulse laser and LBX 20 on that and then kick.
Yeah, that's fair. I was considering you can't afford to let that Battlemaster linger, unload
Correct.
everything on it to just eliminate something from the board and try and help even out these numbers advantage that he's got on you.
Yep, and that spider is learned to do the. There's a phrase for it, and I always get it wrong, so I'm not going to try it. But do the spirally thing where you get a higher target number at least.
You mean the juke?
Yeah, see, I say something else and it would get you delisted very quickly. So
I see. But yeah,
juke like a jukebox. Got it.
yeah, he's definitely getting his TMM at least the bare minimum up currently.
All right, let's see where these shots are going.
Yeah, I will say he is taking very, very many liberties with this spider. Granted, he's got other more important targets for him to shoot at, but man, that spider is living life on the edge.
All right, so he's gonna. Is he gonna go for it? Is he gonna pop the night gear? Well, here's another thought. If you accidentally destroy the Regent and the night gear, you may not. The game may not last long enough for you to destroy the commander.
Oh, you mean the Nighthawk? Yeah, that is
Mhm.
true.
Yeah,
Uh,
Nighthawk. Yeah.
and currently he's ignoring the Man of War again in favor of shooting at that Regent. Uh,
We're gonna call that Nighthawk every single other mech that has Night in its name besides Nighthawk.
yeah, it's going to be a Night Lord or something next. I don't know. Wrong game, you know. But yeah, I don't like this call. Okay, so we're already into the firing phase. Let's go ahead and pull up our log. I don't like going all in on that regent. You need
Mm,
to kill his commander. That is the objective. And so far, that's not happening. Okay, so Battle Master into the regent, of course, because everything's firing into the regent.
ooh, look at what he fired though, Infernos.
Infernos, and he gains 10 more heat. Ouch. I didn't even know he had Infernos on him.
I didn't either, but that would have made more sense against those battle armor earlier.
Yeah. And I don't think he even fired the SRMs against them anyway. But, well, it is what it is. He lights up the Regent a little bit, does some light damage with 2 medium lasers connecting on sevens, and gives him 10 heat, which I think might be more detrimental than the incidental damage he just did.
Well, Man of War though, it's didn't fire all its improved mediums, but it did hit everything it fired at the Naginata.
Yeah, and it's hitting arms and legs and minimal torsos with those ER smalls. He goes internal on the right leg of all places and crits out the Guardian ECM. Really?
Wait,
That's where
what?
it was?
What?
It was in the right leg, apparently. All right, whatever. Who am I to judge?
Between that and the goddamn wrong that Inip or Rachel took, there's a lot of weird places we're sticking things in mechs in this tourney.
Yeah, so nothing really to write home about other than that Guardian ECM being taken out by that shot to the right leg. But the Night Sky follows it up, uh, destroys the left arm on the Naginata, which I think has one of those LRM launchers in there. It might have
Mm.
something else. And also takes out 2 double heat sinks on the left arm, but that was just destroyed. So I guess he was maybe rolling for ammo or something. I don't know.
Maybe that's two of the same heat sink, or maybe it's separate. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, either way, that arm is gone regardless. Now moving on to the Naginata itself, ERPPC at the Regent Prime, 10 damage to the Regent, hits him with the LRM, one of the LRM 15s, a little bit more damage to their Nighthawk. Never mind, switching targets there. Uh, Critical hit chance on the left torso with only 3 internal structure remaining on that Nighthawk and doesn't get it. The ER medium nails the Regent in the center torso. That Regent's still pretty healthy.
Well, and that region is also angry because that LBX-20 fired a solid slug, crushed the left arm, and went into the left torso, which is now only got what's that 7 structure left.
That is
Micro
correct.
pulse laser is trying to fish for something on that right arm, also going into the right torso with some armor left, and medium pulse laser at the spider trying to finish that off, but hits the wrong leg.
Okay, so I don't like this. I mean, the LBX onto the Battlemaster, I think, should have been cluster. If you have the tonnage, I don't know how many. I don't remember how many tons of ammo it has for the AC-20, off the top of my head. But
It's
if you have
5.
two, yeah, I think it's a decent amount. But if you have more than 1 ton of LBX ammo, you should take at least 1 ton of cluster. And darn it, he's already got 3 head hits. Fish for that head hit with that second LB20X, and you're more than likely going to make his pilots go to sleep. 20 damage to the left arm is great and all, but getting the mech out of the fight, I think, would be more effective with 1 more head hit going on those crit fishing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
LB20s. But it was an effective round. He did get the Battlemaster pretty jacked up and internal on the torso. Moving on, the Phoenix Hawk with its snub nose PPCs. One of them hits, that seems to be the story of the game. One of those two has been hitting every turn. 10 more damage added onto the Regent. That's going to be one hell of a piloting check. Spider starts chipping away again in the rear arc. 1 armor remaining in the right torso rear. Other than that, he's just hitting arms and legs with all but one of those ER smalls. Akuma also fires 10 more damage into the Regent. MRM40
Misses
misses.
again. Oh,
Needs an 8, rolls a 7. Oh, man, that in8 +1 keeps coming into play and making you miss.
but it doesn't because he's got Apollo fire control. So it's
Yeah,
just a crappy weapon.
yeah, I agree. Even with Apollo, it's just, oh, nah, I mean, if it didn't have that in8 +1 and Apollo gave it a -1, it would be an infinitely better weapon. But I, I mean, look at that. How many times has it missed by 1 so far this
Mm.
match? At least 2 that I can remember.
I'm gonna say it's the range brackets that are the issue.
That could be it too. I don't even know what the range brackets are on these MRMs.
It's like 1 to 3, and then 4 to 7, then like 8 to 15 or something weird.
Oh, gotcha. Well, the mechanized infantry platoon whiffs on the gargoyle with its LRM launcher. I don't even know how many rounds it has left. But
Um, it might have unlimited rounds.
oh yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, because infantry don't track ammo, I don't think, do they? Unless they have
Uh,
one-shot missile launchers.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, because battle armor do not track ammo for their auto rifle
Yep.
or their
Well,
machine guns. I think, do they?
I don't. No, protomechs do. I don't know about their machine guns. I don't think they do.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna assume they have unlimited ammo then. Uh,
Well, the Regent Prime and the Battlemaster both passed their rolls with flying colors. It looks like.
I'm surprised the Regent only needed a 6. He only took 40 damage that turn. I thought he took more. I mean, he may have taken more, but he didn't quite take 60. I thought he took at least 60. The Naginata, on the other hand, did take 60 and fell again.
Yeah, didn't take the worst damage you could possibly take. Some right arm again. Looks like it's just kind of sandblasting it there. It looks like it did fail the seatbelt check though, so he did take a hit there.
Yeah, that's its second piling hit on that Naginata. So starting to stack those up too. Uh, Going into the fisticuffs, Battlemaster misses the kick on a 6 on the Regent, which is, good for the Regent, bad for Nitro. Regent makes its kick on the Battlemaster. 18 damage to the right leg, goes internal, and takes out a lower leg actuator. That means he's got to make a piloting check, which base target is 5. It doesn't look like he makes it. Okay, so whoa, here we go. He's got to make 3 piloting checks on 6. First one was missed a kick. Second one was leg
Was
slash
kicked.
foot
Or yeah, leg
actuator.
actuator.
+0 missed kick. +0 was kicked. And the third one was leg slash foot actuator missed kick. Was this
Well,
one supposed to one kick?
they're cumulative. So he has 3 piloting checks, and it says it there: missed a kick, leg actuator hit, was kicked. But
Okay,
you
so
don't roll them individually, so all of those get added together. So I got to take 3, and I roll all the modifiers 3 times.
yes, so he needed a 6 for all 3 of those, and I I guess kicking with a damaged leg slash foot actuator generates a PSR. At least that's what I'm getting at from this, because we've already got
Uh,
the first one was because he missed the kick. The second one says
it's
leg
because
slash
when he
foot
got,
actuator hit.
well, look at the Regent Prime. When he was kicked by the Regent,
Yeah,
he gave him the lower leg.
he just took that leg crit, which means he has to make that piloting roll this turn for
Mm.
that leg crit, which he makes. And the third one was from being kicked. So that's the one he failed. All right. So okay, I'm just making sure we got all of our kick ducks in a row.
Fair enough.
Don't go kicking ducks. That's not what I said.
War crimes. Instructions unclear. I read it wrong.
So the Battlemaster falls again. They both make their seatbelt check. Thank God for them, because they've already got 3 hits each. That would have been pretty heinous if they fell and went unconscious. But they did fall and destroy the left torso. Uh, Landed on the left torso, which means
Ooh.
they are now in force withdrawal on that Battlemaster. So Elroy's up on the board with some cripple points right there on that Battlemaster.
Well, at least that.
And
And he's now got a Battlemaster on the floor with a lot of damage and probably a lot of heat in front of a Regent that is probably just going to blow it out of the sky next, or floor, I guess, next turn.
yeah, actually, I don't think the Battlemaster has all that much heat. That's a Sphere standard
Oh,
engine.
that's
He's
true.
back down to 0 heat. Yeah, there's the zombie effect
It
and
was
coming
the
into play.
Battlemaster had shot the Regent, not the other way around.
Yeah, yeah, and the Regent's sitting at 10 heat, so if he didn't get that extra 10 heat from those Infernos, he would have been completely neutral. Or perfectly neutral, I should say. All right, getting into round 6. Hey, what do you know? Command console still coming into play, even though the mech's jacked up and on the floor. Elroy rolls a 6, Nitro rolls a 6, but gets the +2, so he wins again. That's got to be frustrating. I know I've lost almost every single turn worth of initiative in my tournament so far, which has been not ideal to say the least.
Well, that's where you have to get back to. He is paying BV, and there are other counters like taking a flatbed truck, but I do applaud Elroy for not taking, a Magistracy Field Medic or something to try to cheese that.
Yeah, I agree there. Cheesiness is, there's a time and place for it. And in these fun tournaments we're doing, I mean, there's room for a decent amount of cheese,
Ooh,
just not the full charcuterie board worth of cheese.
hold up, is Nitro's commander in force withdrawal, which means Elroy scored 25 points there.
That is correct. Not only did he make I forgot to mention that. I completely forgot it was his commander. Uh, but yeah, you're right. So he scores half of the objective, and then he scores half of a combat objective for making the mech go into force withdrawal on top of that. So that's from the Naginata landing on its torso from the fall, from taking too much damage, apparently.
I'd have to do math again, but that might mean that Elroy might actually be winning this right now, even though his mechs are getting torn up.
You might be correct. The Battle Master's in force withdrawal. The Naginata's in force withdrawal. He may not be winning combat, but that 25 points for the objective is probably going to push him over the top. Uh, Alroy is looking probably pretty good right now. The Manowar is pretty much scratched lightly, while the Naginata is on its last leg, as is the Battlemaster. It's going to come down to the Akuma, the Phoenix Hawk, and the Spider versus the Manowar and the Regent very soon here. And maybe that Nighthawk will survive another turn or two because he's in a very protected spot. The only thing that can really shoot it right now is that Naginata. Whoa, if I'm not mistaken, so the Battlemaster stood up, possibly using careful stand or, just rolling to stand, and the Regent decided to stay still. The Regent did not
Hmm.
move. So the Phoenix Hawk immediately goes to the rear arc of the Regent. The Spider does his little whip around and gets back into the rear arc of the Regent, or is trying to. Yeah, I don't like that. Not moving. Granted, there's no way he was going to keep the Phoenix Hawk and the Spider out of his rear arc, but he could have at least moved a little or gotten to the side and or rear arc of that Battlemaster.
One thing that Naginata could have done this turn is step down 1 hex, and then you're in kicking distance of that gargoyle.
Yeah, although looking at it now, the Naginata had previously moved, and the Gargoyle moved into prime kicking range of the Naginata.
Other way around, the gargoyle is on a lower level.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. But is it still in the front arc?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're already in the shooting phase.
Oh, yeah,
So,
we are. Wow, that movement went quick.
oh, that was very quick.
Well, I guess when you have 3 out of however many mechs not moving, the moving phase is going to go real fast. If I'm not mistaken, that Akuma didn't move. Or if it did, it only moved like 1
Um,
hex.
I think it only moved 1 hex to get up a level.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
But everyone's going all in on that region.
That is still an interesting choice. I don't think I agree with that.
Oh,
Oh,
and
wow.
we're
Okay.
already at
Yeah.
firing. That they
Jeez.
are speeding
Ooh.
this.
Yeah, round 6 was a lightning round, apparently. Let's pull up our log here so we can follow along. Okay, so Naginata stands, needs a 5. Battlemaster stands, needs a 6. They're both fine. Or, well, not fine, but they're both standing. We'll get right into the weapon attack phase.
So it looks like the Battlemaster medium laser is about all it can fire. Gets a through armor crit on the region, but no critical.
Yep, and the Manowar unloads into the Naginata. 10 damage to the head. 2 internal structure remaining. Life support and sensors are both critted out. That's another 1 damage for 3 total, and the pilot stays conscious on the Naginata for now. A second improved heavy medium hits the right leg, and the ER smalls bore into the right arm, surprisingly, taking out the double heatsink and destroying the right arm outright on the third ER small. And the rest of the ER smalls just add up, slowly shaving away at the Naginata's armor and the rest of the mech.
Well, we got the Nighthawk. It has 2 hits with the large laser, and oh no, it transferred. I'm sorry. Large laser hits, goes into the right torso, crits out that LRM-15.
Oh, and a double heatsink. Uh, the medium pulse nails him in the center torso. Only 9 armor remaining there. Naginata's not looking good. I mean, it was already in forced withdrawal, but now it's taking even more of a beating. It returns fire onto the region and gets a through armor crit on the
Oh
CT
no.
and nails an engine. Ouch. That does not feel good for Elroy, I'm sure. He still has 22 armor remaining in that particular location, by the way. So through armor crit coming into play there. Snub noses for the Phoenix Hawk both hit, needing 4s because the region did not move whatsoever. But he hits the right leg and left arm, shaving the armor down slowly but surely. Spider also into the rear arc, hits the center torso rear, hits the left torso rear, doesn't hit that right torso that's already been mostly shaved. He's not finding the clusters he needs on that region in the rear.
Well, but we've got the Regent returning fire, and it fired, it looks like a slug, hit the center torso for the Battlemaster and crunched it. EDR large hits, medium pulse laser hits. Second one destroys the Battlemaster, and then some auxiliary damage to the corp.
Yep, Battlemaster is finally out of commission. That is a mech destroyed for Elroy. So that's another additional combat score for him. The Akuma also fires into the Regent, crits out a double heatsink on the left torso, which is exposed. There's only 17 structure remaining on that left torso. Uh, Nails him with the MRM-40. Finally, he needed a 5 and rolled a 5. Oh, man. If he would have missed again. Oh, okay. He does get a head hit on the Regent. That's the first one of the game on that bad boy, who is named Unnamed Person, which I just found out right now. Snub Nose also hits the Regent, goes even more internal on that left torso. 7 structure remaining, hits a double heat sink. And the LBX-10 with the cluster shot gets another pellet into the left torso and crits out another double heatsink twice. So that's either the same double heatsink is destroyed outright, or he's crit out another double heatsink. We'll find out later, I guess.
The mechanized troopers, they're crit seeking again. They got 6 damage on the Man of War. Nothing to write home about there, but it looks like each trooper is half a point of damage.
Yeah, there we go. 11 troopers hit, and he takes three 2 damage missiles. So shaving away on the right torso, only 13 armor remaining on the gargoyle.
That Regent took 80 damage, but it manages to need an 8 and rolls a 9 to stay standing.
Good lord, that is a lot of damage. I mean, but then again, you didn't move, so what do you expect? The Naginata took 60 damage because it also didn't move because it had to stand, and also makes its piling check with a 9, needing an 8. Going into fisticuffs, the Phoenix Hawk kicks the Regent for 9 damage to the left leg, and the Regent makes its piling check. Not much action there, unlike last round.
Well, we still got plenty of BV on the board because I'm looking at the next round, and it looks like Elroy's at 57 and NitroBurst at 62. So actually, they're a lot closer than I thought.
Yeah, this game is still very much up in the air. It could go either way at this point. One thing to note, though, Nitro lost his command console when he lost his Battle Master. So Elroy finally wins initiative on round 7, rolling a 7 where Nitro only rolled a 6. So this is where the game can start turning around into Elroy's favor. He's been on the back foot, not having initiative for the majority of the game. This could make all the difference.
Get him, Gargoyle. Get him.
Oh yeah, that gargoyle, I can only imagine, is going to go right into the rear of that Naginata. Hopefully. Okay, so looks like Nitro's first move is the mechanized platoon and the Naginata standing still. We'll see where Elroy decides to move. He's got 3 mechs. The Nighthawk has been consistently not moving, so that's his first move, which means now Nitro has to move something. Either one of his 2 jumpy boys or his Akuma. He does outnumber Elroy still, so I think he's got to move two units here.
Now, one thing that is a little interesting is this is still double blind, so there's probably some weird ways you could try to turtle that Naginata, but that's just limiting the options of where the Gargoyle's going to go.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised he doesn't just immediately move that gargoyle to the rear arc of that Naginata. I mean, what's stopping you? Getting rear shotted by the mechanized track platoon? That Akuma can't get to you this turn.
Yeah, that Regent would be, well, you did well. Why would you move the Man of War first?
That way
Unless,
you force Nitro to move everything else so you can get decent position with your Regent so he can't get rear shots on you.
yeah, he hasn't moved the Gargoyle yet.
Yeah, so he should. I'm hoping he moves the gargoyle next.
Oh, I'm with you.
No, yeah, no, because I mean, of course, you move the Night Sky because the Night Sky is not moving.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
yeah, I keep forgetting he has that thing down there.
yeah, it's still hiding behind that level 1 or level 2 terrain. It's still fully or mostly functional. It's got a pretty jacked up leg, if I'm not mistaken, but other than that, it's mostly intact. It's not even in force withdrawal yet, so he may want to look into jumping that spider down there and dealing with that Night Sky because he's been sinking initiative and being a nuisance, pummeling into that Naginata with those ER larges and large laser. So he jumps the Phoenix Hawk away from the Regent. into some force, I think, to get a little bit of a defensive turn because he did finally lose initiative.
Yeah, that's got to be a I'm getting out of here, not a this is where I want to go.
Uh-huh. And it looks like he might be moving the Regent first when I honestly think he should be moving that Gargoyle first. Yeah, look at the movement on that Akuma. If he moves that Manowar directly into the rear of that Naginata, there's nothing that can touch him.
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe the Spider jumping for the full 10.
And it's still a gargoyle. It's got the armor to handle that spider.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's really zero reason to not put your back to that little mechanized track platoon. I mean, you don't even have to. You can just move at an angle and keep them in your side arc, facing the hex just above the Naginata.
Mm.
That way you can just torso twist and unload everything in the rear arc of the Naginata. Although the Naginata is pretty jacked up at this point, he may want to start maneuvering on that Akuma with the Gargoyle and just let the Nighthawk duel it out with the remainder of the Naginata and see who comes out on top.
I don't know. I'd be real tempted to secure the extra 25 from nuking the Naginata.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, but both of these players seem to have been not tunneling in on the objective like
True.
I would have.
That's true.
So let's go ahead and skip along here. Movement. Where did he move? He moved the Akuma up, and he moved the Gargoyle into the rear arc of the Akuma. So, all right, he did what I thought he would do, because that's consistent with the way he's been playing this match. But that did leave his Gargoyle exposed for rear shots from the Spider,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is an acceptable outcome. Hey man, just jump the Spider for 9. You don't need to jump it for 10 every turn. Oh well, I guess 10 is fine because you're still in medium range. All right.
Do you think he's got the gargoyle going over there so he can jump next turn with the high TMM? Like, I.
Yeah,
uh,
I think he's starting to set up on the Akuma because he thinks that Night
mhm.
Sky is going to finish off the Naginata for him.
True.
Well, Nighthawk. God dang it. I'm calling it every other night mech possible. And it looked like he didn't move the Regent again? Really?
Did he rotate him?
I,
I think he
maybe
turned him. Maybe he's got heat, or I don't think he's got any hits that would cause him from really doing much.
he's got an engine hit, so he is generating a little bit more heat, but
Yeah.
he should still be able to walk at least one. Oh, okay. Well, at least now the Akuma can take shots on that little pesky Nighthawk.
Yeah, bury it.
Hopefully. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Combat log. Timeout. Timeout.
you saw that he already started slamming the scroll button to see what happened towards the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would,
Yeah.
I would too.
Okay, let's start from the top. Unfortunately for us, it doesn't look like there's too much action going on up here.
Yeah,
Uh,
Naginata misses.
yeah,
Phoenix Hawk misses.
Spider hits the Regent. Nothing spectacular though. Just shaving more armor here and there. Manowar, on the other hand, mostly misses on the Akuma. Does get him with one improved heavy medium on the center torso rear, but unfortunately, it's still got 5 armor remaining after taking 10 damage. That is a beefy boy. Nighthawk fires in the Naginata, gets another crit on the right torso, gets rid of the LRM-15 on the right torso, and another double heatsink, and that's it for the Nighthawk. Akuma unloads into the Nighthawk. What do we have here?
Looks like LVX-10 firing clusters blows off heat sink and just kind of sandblasts. MRM-40 though, it finally does something. 32 missiles hit, including the left torso, and that transfers to the center and destroys the Nighthawk.
There we go. He's got another mech down. So the
How
Nighthawk
many?
is no more.
Okay. I was like, how many criticals is that? No, this one through armor crit that's just transferring.
Gotcha, gotcha. But yeah, it's destroyed. He did take out the center torso, which means more than 4 engine hits. Nothing in range, even if it does blow up, but there was no stack pull. So no big bada boom.
Well, the Regent takes aim at the spider, cluster shot, and gets 12 pellets hitting, one of which hits the hip of the spider and the
Ooh.
head.
Okay, that hip hit is juicy. So now every time that spider jumps, that's a PSR. Granted, it's a 2-3 pilot, so it's not that bad of a PSR, but it's there anyway.
hmm
Because it's
And
a -2, I do believe, for the hip hit.
correct. And nothing else to write home about. SRM4, sorry, Streak 4 does a little more damage, but you're just wearing down already thin armor. You're not punching through.
Yeah, and the spider makes both of his piloting checks. The Akuma makes its piloting check, and there is no fisticuffs for round 7.
That was a little uneventful.
Yeah, I thought there would be more explosions, although the night sky did finally go down.
Yeah, that night gear wasn't going to last.
Yeah, poor little Nighthawk. All right, getting into round 8. Uh, Hang on, before we get into round 8, how's that Regent looking on heat? Okay, he's only on 1 heat, even with the engine hit. He's looking pretty cool for the most part. But getting into round 8, Alroy rolls a 6, Nitro rolls a 10. So Nitro's back in the driver's seat when it comes to initiative. So let's go ahead and get into the next round. All right. So right off the bat, we're going to skip a little bit because it's starting to get a little late. Region moves up into basically melee with the gargoyle. So I guess he's going to start trying to protect the Regent now. Naginata stays still. He's still in force withdrawal, but he's still on the board and is still the commander for Nitro's force.
I don't like that. I would have moved the Naginata last, so you're trying to force where that gargoyle can go rear arm.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little concerned for Nitro, honestly. Uh, it looks like, if anything, he may be running out of time. He spent a lot of time burrowing into this Regent. I have a feeling he'll be able to take it down in the next couple turns, but that means when it comes to the Gargoyle, which will be Alroy's only mech left, he's going to run out of battle value remaining. And as soon as he starts getting damage on that Gargoyle, the game's going to end and he
Ooh,
will not have the time to kill the gargoyle, which just jumped to the side arc of the Naginata.
why? 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 No.
I don't know. I've been asking this constantly throughout the game why the call of the backside is not being answered. And now he just moved into fisticuff range of the Akuma. The Akuma better walk up and get into head punting range of that gargoyle. I mean, is there any other move for that Akuma to make realistically?
Quick, Akuma, channel the inner spirit of a field goal kicker. I can't think of a single one.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not even gonna try. I was gonna say try to think of a famous soccer player, but I can't think of any of those either.
Pele, Ronaldo.
Oh yeah, there we go. No, those are famous people whom I definitely know of. Okay, so Phoenix Hawk's in the rear arc of the Regent. He's still deliberating on whether or not to move that Akuma up. Uh, I
It
mean,
is.
all it's his last turn. He gets the last 2 moves because he won initiative. Alroy's
It,
already moved both of his mechs. He needs to just now it's making up your mind time. What are you going to focus down on?
it is interesting though to see the perspective of another player because you can see these deliberations.
Yeah, and he's turning around, choosing to focus on the Regent, which
What?
I have to believe is the wrong choice. I mean, this might cost him the game. He might win the battle, but lose the match if he kills this Regent and the game ends because he's not at, or the game ends before he can kill the Gargoyle at 20% battle value. Okay.
Well,
All right.
let's
Let's get into
see.
the combat log. Okay, here we go. Movement phase. Spider stands up successfully.
Oh, and the Naginata fires, misses LRM 15. ER medium hits the regent. Ugh.
Yeah, Spider burrows into the rear of the Regent with one of those ER smalls. The rest of them all miss.
Phoenix Hawk, two snub noses into the rear of the regent. Does open up the rear right torso and destroys the armor on the center, but I think he's got a lot more front armor than he does rear.
Yeah, definitely. So he's still in the game. Gargoyle fires at the Naginata. Improved heavy mediums. One misses on a 6, one hits on a 6, and the ER smalls start crit fishing. He gets an engine crit on the Naginata, and I think that's about it. Nothing else spectacular. Naginata's still in the fight
Oh,
for
but now
now.
he's got a PSR at least.
Yeah, he's got a PSR and he's got 5 extra heat. And the Naginata has not been known to be making its PSRs.
Oh, speaking of somebody who's not been known to be doing anything with something, the Akuma decides the MRM-40 is worth shooting as fireworks instead of a weapon.
Yeah, I bet it was a real good light show, but he does nail the LB20X on the Regent with a tack with the LB10X. One of the pellets goes internal. But he still got 16 armor in that right torso. So that's actually a pretty good outcome because that Regent just lost a significant portion of its firepower.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a through armor crit that did it too.
Yep, that hurts. That's the second through armor crit to significantly affect this Regent. Speaking of which, that LB20X misses on a 6. Doesn't say whether or not it was solid or cluster ammo. I would have liked to hope he was shooting cluster, because if not, then that cost him the shot. ER large also misses. Medium pulse hits. Medium pulse number 2 hits. Streak 6 hits, but nothing spectacular. Shaving the armor on the Akuma. And the mechanized infantry platoon nails the man of war in the head. That's his first hit on the gargoyle for the head, anyway. Other than that, nothing to write home about.
Some of that hit his legs, so
Which was behind cover, which did 0 damage. So literally only the head hit went through.
I thought the mechanized infantry was above where the man of war was. Maybe I.
No, he's down. Yeah, you're right. He is above. So, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. That was weird. All right. Well, maybe it's a glitch. Maybe it's working as intended. Maybe there's a funky infantry rule or something because they're only height 1. Well, anyway, Elroy's Regent stays standing with a roll of 5. The Naginata, on the other hand, falls, needing a 7, rolling a 6. Uh, any crits? Any crits? Only the C3 Master goes down. But more importantly, he does not make his seatbelt check, takes 1 damage for a 4th pilot hit, and fails to stay conscious, needing a 10,
Hmm.
rolling a 7.
He crit the pilot.
Yep. That was from the seatbelt check, more so than
Yeah.
anything. That's the 3rd or 4th time that Naginata's fallen and taken damage, so those add up. So that Naginata survives this round, but is 99% chance dead next round. Or maybe even no, I don't think he's shot too many weapons. He can't punch the Naginata. Oh well. Phoenix Hawk, on the other hand, kicks the Regent, forces the PSR that it makes. Nothing else to write home about there. Let's go ahead and get into round 9.
Yeah, this has got to be at least, if this isn't the last round, this is probably the second to last because we're going to run out of BV on that Naginata, and that Regent is going to tank as well.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go ahead and get into it. It's already getting late. It's 11 o'clock here, which means it's like 1 o'clock your time.
It means I'll be getting to work right at time.
Okay, movement phase going already. Looks like Alroy lost initiative again and decides to move his Regent first into melee with the Akuma that has not moved yet. For the first time this game, the mechanized tracked platoon decides to move out from behind the Naginata. Where did that gargoyle go? Oh, the Naginata's unconscious. He can't see it. So
Hmm.
that gargoyle could be in its rear arc, and we won't know until the firing phase.
I
Or
may not even move the gargoyle because realistically, you're
yeah, there's no
adjacent.
more armor. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Look at it. There, it's adjacent. It's immobile. It's prone.
the Akuma can't reach it. The spider
Yeah,
could.
yeah. The spider can. The Phoenix Hawk might be able to get eyes on it.
It's got so many crits. Why would you do that?
Yeah, yeah. Man, I can't help but think that Nitro's going to win the battle but lose the war here. All right, let's go ahead and fast forward through this. There's only so many moves they can make, and that is again not one
What?
of them that I would have made. He's jumping the gargoyle out to get in the rear arc of the Akuma, going for battle value. I don't agree with that. Now the spider's getting into the rear arc of the gargoyle. So will the Phoenix Hawk likely. Nope, Phoenix Hawk jumps into kicking range of the gargoyle. Never mind. I guess that's also acceptable. The Regent. Okay, hang on.
Oh,
Okay, I
there.
see a
Oh,
bunch of red. Timeout.
red.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Okay, all right, here we go.
It's like watching Clifford jump across the screen.
Okay, okay. So shooting phase, round 9. I saw a whole lot of red. I'm not seeing a whole lot of red here. Spider gets in the rear left torso of the gargoyle. Nothing bad happens. Just shaves the armor down. Gargoyle, on the other hand, gets into the rear of the Akuma, goes internal on the left torso rear. 10 damage to the right arm, goes internal with the improved heavy. Third improved heavy misses. Fourth improved heavy hits the head. 2 internal structure remaining. Critical hit on sensors and life support. Nope.
That might be force withdrawal, though, isn't it?
No, because there's 2 sensors slots and there's 2 life support slots. If
Okay.
you hit both of either one of those, then yes, they're in force withdrawal. But hitting one of each, I don't think puts them in force withdrawal. The sensor hit, though, will give him penalties to shoot. Phoenix Hawk whiffs with both snub noses on the gargoyle, which I think was front arc anyway, so not too terrible. Regent, on the other hand, decides to take out the Naginata, put it out of its misery finally. Yep, here we go. Scrolling down, it hits the Artemis 4 capable LRM 15 ammo, explodes for 60 damage, and destroyed by pilot death because that is 6 total hits taken, which equals a dead pilot. The mech is still technically intact because it's got case. But yeah, there you go. That's pilot hits for you.
Brutal.
Oh yeah, very much so. And the Akuma strikes back against the Regent, takes another head hit, takes 1 damage, 2 total hits, needs 5 to stay conscious, rolls a 4. The Regent is now unconscious. Oh, buddy.
He was dead anyway.
No, not necessarily. Let's look at
Whoa.
these crits. I mean, he may be not combat effective
he
anymore
was a
after
walking
ground.
skeleton before that.
Yeah, but he wasn't on the ground unable to fight back. At least actually looking at all these crits, he still has most of his weapons. He doesn't have his LB-20, but the rest of his weapons are still there. His
Yeah.
arms are still there, so he would still have been combat effective with another engine hit. That's his second engine hit, by the way, so he is in force withdrawal with 2 engine hits.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter because he automatically falls for being unconscious and takes another engine crit to his center torso, which is finally explodes and destroys himself, falling. So I think that might be game right there, if not very close to it. The Akuma makes his piling check and fisticuff time. Phoenix Hawk. Oh, Manowar goes to punch the Phoenix Hawk and misses. Spider goes to punch the Gargoyle and misses both punches. Phoenix Hawk kicks the Gargoyle in the head. Oh, crap. 9 damage to the head, 1 internal structure remaining. Takes 1 damage, 2 total hits. Needs 5 to stay conscious. Rolls a 3 and blacks out. That's 2 mechs in a turn. Needing 5s to stay conscious. And they both fail and they both black out. This one being far more important considering it's the commander. Holy crap, what a turn of events. And of course, he automatically falls and takes the 3rd pilot hit. So it's going to be even harder for him to wake up
If it
if he
wasn't
survives.
If it wasn't for that roll of a 3, I would have said Elroy won this game immediately. But now he's got a blacked out commander, and he is alone, surrounded by hostiles.
Okay, I don't think we need to even look at the movement. Let's just scroll
Yeah,
down
let's roll
and
down.
immediately look at what happens right here in the
First thing
first
right
phase.
there.
Bam, headshot, called shot, more than likely to the gargoyle, dead. Uh,
Mm.
that is game. Going the way of Nitro after a very, very roller coaster ride. Uh, yeah, I think he even takes out the Regent. Let's scroll down and see how this turns out. Actually, it looks like all of his shots were on that gargoyle, as they should have been, to ensure he gets the victory. Physical attack phase doesn't happen. That's it. Game is over. Alroy has 0 battle value remaining. Oh,
That region,
that's right. The Regent died last round. That's
correct,
right.
from all the engine hits.
Yep, that was his third engine hit. So yeah,
Whew.
wow, that was a roller coaster ride of a finish. So that is a tie objective because
Both
the
commanders are
gargoyle
dead.
died and the Naginata died. So man, that was a brutal fight. The only things remaining are the spider that was jacked up in the legs a bit, the Phoenix Hawk, which I don't think took very much damage, and the Akuma, which got shaved down a decent bit, and of course the mechanized track platoon, which was ignored for the majority of the match.
Which it should have been as well.
I would have really liked to see the elementals just go infantry hunting because they've got that machine gun and the auto rifle. I mean, granted, they're chasing those assault mechs, which is also what they're really good at. But I would have liked to see him drop those elementals off and just leave them in the Naginata's hex, harassing that Naginata and shooting at those infantry. But
So
that's also hindsight. So
So if we're doing scoring, they got a tight objective for 50 points a pop. It's not a bad thing to lose because if you have a high scoring game for the purpose of the tournament, it still helps. So 50 points a pop, 30 points to Elroy for taking out 2 mechs. Nitro's gonna win it on combat. We'll just call it 50 because it is. So they'll get
yeah,
100 plus another 20. So I'm counting that as 120 to 70, or sorry, 120 to 80.
yeah, that's a very close match, and that's a lot of points going
Both ways.
Elroy's way. Yeah, both ways realistically, because Nitro is going to end up maxing out or being as close to maxing out as possible. But Elroy, considering they got a tie, but Elroy is also coming out with a good amount of points. There's people who might win this match with less points than Elroy is going to walk away with.
Correct.
So, man, that was a brutal roller coaster of a ride. And man, I'm glad I saw it. Oh, buddy. Well, I know it's getting late for both of us. Any closing thoughts on this match, Pirate?
So both players didn't move the way that I would have moved. I would have seen that Gargoyle do a little more backstabbing, and I would have seen the Akuma maybe just get up into the game a lot faster. It seemed to have held back more. And there were definitely moves that there had to be some thought or logic behind why they moved the way they did. But that was a Deus Ex Machina last turn if I've ever seen one. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, there was some questionable movement. There were some rear shot opportunities that I would assume were obvious to take and were not taken multiple times by both players at that. First, beginning with that Nova, I mean, I want to say that Nitro missed a good amount of shots, but in the end, I think the dice were a little more punishing to Elroy, considering that he had that catastrophic engine failure that eliminated his elementals outright, on top of the Nova that just was destroyed, and then B, he had his commander go unconscious as it was the last mech alive on the second pilot hit, which is just straight up unlucky.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a joy to watch that, and I appreciated being sent in. But it, there is just a lot of times where if it wasn't for the dice, even the regent standing still, or the shots taken on the Akuma instead of the Battle Master from the Black Hawk, but on the flip side too, just standing still or moving the Naginata first, which is just screaming, "Shoot me in the rear." That's a different way of playing.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It was, I wouldn't call it errors, but it was definitely uh, decision making that doesn't align with common. Uh, I would call them errors. Yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Yeah, I'll give you the PC one, which is an alternative play style.
Uh, I gotta call it like I see it, man. Not answering the call of the backside multiple turns in a row, where you would have been almost entirely safe from return fire when doing so, just screams that out as an error. Not to mention the Nova being in the rear arc of the Battlemaster and just going straight in on the Akuma instead of taking those rear shots with 10 medium chemical lasers. That was probably enough damage to core out one of those rear torso locations on that Battlemaster.
Well, and this is where it's probably worth. It'd be interesting to hear the players' comments too. There might be something we're missing that caused a lot of this because I've played Nitro and I've played Elroy. That was strange movement.
Yes, I agree. They're both very good players, and I don't know what the thought process was not going for those rear shots. But I mean, they did go for rear shots, or at least Nitro did with the Spider. He did with the Phoenix Hawk. Alroy didn't really have as many opportunities because the mechs that he had alive for most of the match were very slow, other than the Gargoyle going in the rear on the Naginata multiple turns in a row. Uh, yeah, it was just very, very strange, and I would honestly say suboptimal.
But we're not
Uh,
here to trash them.
no,
This is
it,
definitely just our observances and our call outs.
yes, yes, this is by no means want to detract from either of these players' skills. They both played a hell of a game, and it was extremely entertaining to watch, to say the least. It was definitely a roller coaster of emotions there, all the way up until the end. But
That
yeah,
that
no, I want to thank Nitro and Alroy both for submitting this and putting this out there for everybody to analyze and watch.
I agree. And what my takeaway from this is, like I said, I think like in the first 8 seconds, it's a dice game. Man, don't give up because something can turn around really fast.
Oh yeah, I thought Alroy was going to have that game in the bag until that very last turn. Even though he took a devastating blow early on, losing the Nova and the Elementals. Uh, I thought he was just going to jump that gargoyle around until the turn timer ran out and say, "Come catch me," uh, and run out the clock. But that did not happen, and he went unconscious and was destroyed on turn 10, I do believe. Both players played very well, and like I said earlier, thank you guys for submitting. Any closing thoughts there, Pirate?
That I look forward to, if not chatting with them about it, to playing both of those players eventually soon. And would love to see if their movement style reverts back to what I'm used to seeing, or if there is something we're missing, because that's going to be interesting. But I'm looking forward to playing and casting another one of these because that was a lot of fun and entertaining.
Oh yeah, it was good to get back in the saddle. That was a hell of a time for sure. Uh, who knows? Maybe they had some sort of gentleman's agreement. Commanders don't shoot each other in the back or something.
Or just straight up playing with Zellbringen, because that would explain why the Blackhawk didn't nail the Battlemaster in the rear.
Also true. But we'll ask them. I'll try and get Nitro to answer in person if I can later on in the week, at least his thoughts. Maybe I can get in contact with Elroy and maybe we can get some player interviews for some of this post match discussion to go along with our analyzing of the match. But I think we can go ahead and call it there, Pirate, unless there's anything else you want to add.
Nope, I need to get some sleep.
As do I. Everybody, don't forget about the SoCal Open. Join the MRC. Check out the Discord in the comments below or links below. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you and good night.
Adios.